Hey, what's good, everybody? Good evening, and welcome to the Sports Bar here at WTF Nation Radio. I am the actual King Smith, and co-hosting with me today is my main man, Coach. Coach, let the people know something.
What do you hear? What do you say? Oh, buddy, are you just waiting for these next 2 weeks for having absolutely nothing else but sports but the damn Olympics to make our job a hell of a lot easier and the fact that we don't have to report on the WNBA?
Absolutely. However, you must not know me. Because there might be some WNBA news in today's live stream. So you're going to have to suffer, brother. All right. If y'all are new to our platform and to our show here, Coach and I are both U.S. military veterans. I myself am an Air Force veteran. Coach is an Army veteran. And we come to you live Sunday nights at 8 p.m. U.S. Eastern Standard Time and talk all things sports and life from our point of view. First of all, Coach, how you been, man? Because we didn't have a live stream last week.
I've been good, man. Unlike Joe Biden, I've been in. I've been doing a lot of other things. And by the way, Susan, that will be the last time that name is ever uttered on this daggone show tonight. That being said, I've actually been doing a lot of things. We went back to the office this week. So the Fayetteville office is open again for those that know where I'm working at. And that was kind of an adjustment. That was actually supposed to be in Asheville and Spartanburg this weekend, but due to the weather, I had to change it up. But this Friday, I got a minor league baseball game. And then next week, it's going to be even better. I'm going to be surfing, my man.
Hey, good deal. Enjoy some of that surfing, brother. In about 2 weeks from now, I think it's 2 weekends, on August the 4th, I'll be 40 and I will be out at Virginia Beach. And I'm not going to do any surfing, but I am going to spend some time on the water. And I'm really looking forward to that.
Oh, buddy, I'm glad that you are off on that August 4th, that we're taking that day off on the August 4th because for your birthday, I swear to Christ, I am going to be dead in the water after that anyway. Um, okay, I didn't say anything about that, but whatever. All right, so
Wait,
anyway,
wait. Before you go on, let's just do that real quick. Hold on. We have the graphics, so I just wanted to play it. Yes. As Susan did point out, Biden is not seeking re-election for this upcoming term. I believe, if I understand it correct, he is endorsing his current vice president, Kamala Harris. Now, if y'all want to talk more about that, the sports bar is not the place for it, but be sure to definitely come back on Monday and I'd say Thursday shows.
yeah, I think Thursday. Well, Thursday might be something because the Army is bound to do something stupid over the next 3 days, or probably did something stupid and it'll get reported on Monday. So that'll take up Thursday. So if you want to come up with all the harebrained ideas of what's going to happen and Project 2025 and they take our jabs and our guns, well, yeah, watch Monday edition. Watch the Monday edition.
Good deal. Good deal. Now, Coach, I don't have the updated graphics, and that's on me. I had all week to do
Yeah,
that.
but you
As
know what, man? We're like completely. We've got so many things on Friday that I don't even know what we have anymore, and I don't even think we have new graphics without Friday Night Freedom, do we?
I don't know. It could be done. Maybe we just gotta say hey and talk to our graphics team and get them to update it. I don't think anybody's ever said that. But boss man, if you're
Yeah,
listening, we need an updated graphics of all of the shows. Or at least something, because that Friday slot now has kind of slipped for us. There is going to be weekend co-ops sometimes, if I'm understanding it right, and that is led by our back guy, but kind of in the front scenes now, Nemo, and occasionally when Nemo's not on during the weekend co-ops, which is normally a Saturday thing.
Mm-hmm.
Pop Culture Warrior is going to have the FTX, which is just us gaming, right? And if I'm understanding correctly, that's going to kind of be what's in that Friday slot until things get changed and updated from there.
Yeah, that's what I'm understanding that too. So I mean, I guess we got to figure out what we're actually going to be doing. But yes, Monday, Tuesday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, we will all have shows. So 5 nights a week instead of 7 nights. We've got shows.
Absolutely.
We've got stuff we're sharing on 7 nights a week.
All right. Well, let's acknowledge the people
Yeah.
that have tuned in early, and then we'll get right into our show today. Shout out to Heath Barlow over on Facebook. Said hello all. What up, Heath? I appreciate you tuning in.
Hello,
Thanks for
Heath.
popping in. Shout out to God Happen to Me, aka my boo thing. She writes, "Good evening, y'all." Let me tell y'all. Y'all know about the Y2K24 glitch that occurred this past week that affected travel, airlines, some people's government computers wasn't turning on, and it took a long time for all of that to get sorted out. Well, God happened to me right here over on YouTube was affected by that severely. She was down traveling for an event on Friday, and as she got to Atlanta to fly out on, I believe she was originally scheduled for Delta. That glitch affected Delta, United, and the other big one. Not Southwest. Southwest was good to go. Who was it? Delta, United, American. Yes. Yep. Those are the big three. So travel on Friday was catastrophic. Long story short, she didn't end up getting back to Maryland until Saturday evening. And this was after being at the airport for a legit 24 hours. So, to anybody out there who watches this and you got affected by that, I feel for you. If you were on Spirit or Southwest, you were good to go. And to even realize that Spirit didn't have any delays or cancellations, that should say something about how widespread that glitch was. Did that CrowdStrike glitch have any effects with you, Coach?
No, it did not. We do not use CrowdStrike for our security system,
Gotcha.
so we lucked out on that one. And sports world wise, it was actually kind of funny. So Friday when that happened, at the same time that was happening, the free practice one for the Formula One race was happening over in the Hungaroring, and Mercedes was delayed in starting up their practice because they could not start Lewis Hamilton and George Russell's car, as their team was affected by the computers. And they could not start an F1 car without the computers being up. Oh no, the irony of this situation. This is where the X should have came in, buddy, but it's all right. We can give him a double X on this. You know what one of their car sponsors is? One of their title sponsors?
Microsoft?
CrowdStrike. Yeah. Yeah, so that that was the closest I got to anything with CrowdStrike. I thought that was rather funny that I went to go look for them to start the practice, and they had to delay because of the crowd their computers crashing.
Wow. Okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
I knew several people who sent me the blue screen of death as it had affected them. It didn't affect me, although I kind of
yeah,
wish that it did because I could have used that time on Friday to knock out some stuff because my daughter went and got her learner's permit
yeah.
on Friday, and I gave her her first 5 minutes of driving on the road that same day. And a lot of people were like, "King, bro, you got balls of steel to be able to have your daughter get in a car seat on the same day without any prior driving experience," which it's sort of kind of true. I've taken her and really combined,
Okay.
she has less than 45 minutes of time behind the wheel right? So she at least knows which was the brake pedal, which one's the gas pedal, and all of that jazz. But I want to convey the confidence that I have in her and just saying, hey, I'm not going to put you in a bad or stressful situation. So I didn't have her drive like on the main road, but I did want her to have experience on a road with other cars. So she just drove it in our neighborhood where the speed limit's no higher than 25 and the roads are relatively wider than just like an actual normal two-way street. So she did all right, man. There were a couple of things that gave me a little bit of a pucker factor, but you know, she
Yeah.
literally has less than 2 hours of drive of time behind the wheel total. And it's one of those things that to get better at it, you just have to get time in.
And you got to do it, yeah. And I did a kind of by fire thing with my daughter, and I did a gradual thing with my son, and both of them, when they first got it, yeah, it was a little nerve wracking out there, but I'm glad that they did it because it got majority of their nerves out of it immediately.
Good deal. Good deal. Susan said that she thought that the glitch job was an inside job and that I wouldn't take 2 lines of change code it wouldn't take to just to tell the program to shut down. Glitch, nah, some little inside programmer fucked with the coding. I'm thinking for no real reason other than they just wanted to see if they could. So they did. Susan
Yeah.
talks like somebody who must have an IT background. I'll tell y'all what I do. I work in IT, but I'm non-technical. But I listen to all of the technical mumbo jumbo that goes on as I used to be trained as an IT project manager. So I did like I can hear stuff and understand some of that IT jargon. All right. David Cunningham said with his first car, I learned how to drive a stick shift as my first car. Hey,
Oh.
I learned how to drive a stick shift when I was in my 20s in the desert, as most of those cars, when you were deployed, or like European cars in general, were manuals and not automatics, or at least that's what I noticed. So I learned
Hmm.
how to drive in the desert while deployed, and that's the best place to fuck up something if you're willing to learn.
Hey, King, I do have something for you as far as the outage for it. And apparently, what it did is that they updated one of the, I think it says right here, file 251 or something like that, some configuration file, and that or 291, and it forced everything into a boot loop to make it restart all over again, thus causing that blue screen of death. That's what this whole thing was coming up from that one. Sorry, I just had to read that up on there.
No, hey, thank you, man. I appreciate that because I didn't look too far into it to determine or understand exactly what happened. I just skimmed over a couple of articles and the first couple of sentences, and since it didn't directly affect me, I just didn't
Yeah,
care. I ain't say I
and
didn't
and
care. I
and
didn't
and
look
the
further.
funny thing is that okay, it affected Windows 10 and Windows 11 systems, but like previous updated systems, Windows 7, Windows 8, Vista, even what was that one that we all loved, XP. All of the all of like the legacy type of systems that we have to keep around due to some of those technologies that are still being utilized,
Mhm.
those systems weren't affected, which was kind of funny because apparently the way around for the computers at the terminals to get back and rebooted was to reboot them in Windows 3.1. Windows 3.1 came out in 1990.
Oh, oh.
Yeah, think about that. You had to go back from there and then go through from the update system from Windows 91 back up to your OS.
Whew.
Yeah, wow.
Let's see.
All that from the people, all that from the people that are providing network security to the Department of Defense.
Mm,
Yeah.
mm.
Yeah.
Shout out to my man Richard Branco over on Facebook. Said, I rode my first car down Main Street in Westport, Massachusetts. Wait, MA's Massachusetts, right? What's Maine?
Maine.
Maine is MA?
Maine is ME, I thought. MI is
See.
Mississippi. MA is Mass. ME is Maine. MI is Michigan. MO is Missouri.
Hey,
And MD is Maryland.
I could not go on Are You Smarter
Holy
Than a Fifth
shit.
Grader right now because I would most definitely lose.
Jesus Christmas, man. I can't believe I actually did that, man. It's like I got like a trivia thing.
Bravo, my man. Hey, I got to give you props for that. If I had a hand clap, why would I
Fuck.
do that?
I forgot to bring the breaking news. Hold on. We got to get that breaking news thing back on.
All right, hold on. Let's do it. And go.
Ladies and gentlemen, for those of you that saw or participated in the sports bar trivia, I want to let you know that a modified, longer, and much easier version of the game will be hosted by a very prominent, very prominent veterans group on Wednesday, September 25th. You will see a virtual trivia contest that for the month of September is going to be very much like sports bar trivia that we played right before the 4th of July. So be on the lookout of that, especially you post 9/11 veterans that may be part of this big veteran organization.
Hey, good deal. Good deal. And I think as it comes up, people are going to see that and be like, oh, that's what old coach was talking about.
Maybe.
Good
And
deal.
maybe the fact that if anybody who is out there and is part of this organization and would like to see what coach really looks like, even though it really does closely look like Paulie Walnuts, I would advise you to look at it. Now, I can't be direct in saying what organization it is, and I can't be direct by saying who I am because, well, there's reasons, thus my identity. But that being said, I think I've dropped enough clues in here for you post 9/11 veterans that want to have sports trivia on Wednesday, September 25th.
Good deal. Now, speaking of the 25th of the month, I don't see any reason why we can't do another the sports bar trivia Sunday, August the 25th. That's the last Sunday of the month. And
August 25th.
yep,
All right. Yeah. You know what? I'll be coming back from Jacksonville that night.
okay.
I think let me see how long I can keep this because I might have a 30 day. I have to buy this thing for 30 days.
Mm-hmm.
If I can get this lined up where it's 30 days from that time, and if we can get that exactly at 30 days in between, we might have an extended one for us. If not, it'll be back to the 15th on August 25th.
Good deal. All
See what I'm
right.
saying?
Yeah, got you. And that software as a service platform that you use, that's actually fantastic. Like I've been considering if
Yeah.
they have a referral, let me know if they got like a referral code, and if I buy it, then it would give you credits or something. Because I got some ideas of some things personally that I'd like to do using
Oh
that
yeah. I
program.
mean that thing I think would be awesome. It's also it's something that I mean, I wish I can like. I mean, I'll say this: I wish there was some way we can do this as an annual subscription, but that's not until 2025. Oh, excuse me, a little bit too much beer right now. But yeah, if it does come for the whole year, and we're able to do that. There might be modifications where we might be able to use that annual type of thing, but for public purposes, we may need to, not blur that line.
Got you. I
Yeah,
understand.
I could
Okay.
find something. Yeah.
All right. So Announced here at the Sports Bar, live on WTF Nation Radio. Our next The Sports Bar trivia will be Sunday, August the 25th. And this time, we'll make it a $30 Barnes and Noble gift card.
Okay.
Last month was a $20 Starbucks gift card. This upcoming one is going to be a $30 Barnes and Noble gift card. So, if you want to know the info on that, stay tuned in to WTF Nation Radio, as well as U.S Army W.T.F moments, as well as the Sports Bars page on Facebook. The link to all of those pages, depending on what platform that you're watching it on, should be in the description. If not, find us. We're not hard to find.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
All right. And David
And by the
Cunningham
way,
said that Coach is a member of the Sopranos.
Hey, the questions will not be as hard as the last time. I promise.
Good deal. Susan said he's cool, just not anyone near my type.
Oh, good. I didn't know I had your type, sweetie.
What's your type, Susan? Do you like bearded, bald-haired brothers?
Oh, Jesus. Are you saying this on air full knowing that God listens to me? Or, excuse me. Wait a minute. Hold on. Let me get that. God happened to me is fully watching that. You're going to shoot your shot with somebody?
My lady know I be playing.
My lady don't even watch this show.
Hey, man. I'm going to tell you what. She is a huge supporter of whatever I do, and I like that.
And you know what? I've seen you guys on the
The King and Me.
on the King and Me, and I've seen you guys on other streams together, and I've seen you all on your own individual streams. And look, it's a great supportive relationship. I'm not knocking that whatsoever. I get to poke fun at the fact that you guys are like so supportive of each other. My wife's supportive of me too with everything. It's just she's not the active supportive. You know what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah. For sure. Faux shiggity. David Cunningham said King Isaac Hayes. Nice.
Hey, wait a minute. Which Isaac Hayes? Are we talking about Chef, baby, or are we talking about Chef?
This is true. Man.
And are we talking about Chef before or after Scientology?
Bro, a little bit before he passed away. Like, I don't even think it was a month before he passed away. I met him, but I met him in a bullshit way though. So I was visiting my dad. My dad lives in Olive Branch, Mississippi, which is bordering Memphis. I essentially tell people Memphis because people have heard of that. Well, we were at this like juice bar in downtown Memphis, and I sit down, I'm having something because it was my dad who used to tell me about wheatgrass and stuff. Like, my dad's always trying random new shit. And as I was in there, I sit down, I'm drinking something. Guy comes and sits like right next to me. I look over just to acknowledge him, say, "What's up?" And I look back, and then you know how you like see somebody and did you just kind of do the double take? I was like, I think that's Isaac Hayes. Yeah. But I didn't say nothing at the time. I just was doing my business or whatnot, and I didn't want to bother him. Yet it was kind of like, is it him? So I looked, I said, "Hey, excuse me, sir." I said, "Are you Isaac Hayes?" And he said, "No, but I get that all the time. I'm his body double, and I travel with him sometime." So I'm like, "Oh, okay, cool, right?" That was it. I believed him because I don't know how to read sarcasm on anybody's face. I would take you at your word. So he has his thing or whatever. He leaves, and the guy that was serving us at the like bar counter area was like, "You know that was Isaac Hayes, right?" And I was like, "No." I was like, I thought he was telling the truth. He goes, "No, he comes in here all the time, yada yada. And I'm like, oh, no shit, you know. And then about a month later, he ended up passing away. So
Damn, man.
that's my Isaac Hayes story. David said Isaac is a family member. My family is from Aberdeen, Mississippi. Oh, that's cool, David. That's cool.
Eh, eh, Now, is that area of Mississippi close to that area of Tennessee that like borders up into Louisiana or Missouri or some shit like that? That like Missouri Bend or Kentucky Bend or some shit like that?
I'm looking. So Aberdeen is kind of like
Because it's right on the Mississippi, right?
Aberdeen
The
is
river.
closer to the Alabama border. It's like north and east, but it's closer
Oh,
to the
okay.
Alabama border.
Oh, okay. Oh, all right, all right. Never mind. My geography is way the fuck off then.
Hey, I don't know much about Mississippi except for when I go and visit my dad, and I am from Alabama, but Aberdeen's like just north and west of Tuscaloosa.
You know, somebody actually said something. Just to kind of put a little perspective. We haven't done a single bit thing about sports, and this is on
But
purpose.
but
Because the
but you
only
know
thing you
what?
want to
That's
talk about
fine.
is the WNBA, and I'm okay about that.
That's
But
fine. We've
but
got 70
Mississippi,
something members watching right now, man. So this, hey,
Mi-
folks are
Mississippi.
engaged.
So here's something. Mississippi. It is statistically the poorest, most downtrodden of all 50 of the states. And it's like actually 51 of 52 if you include the U.S. territories of Guam and Puerto Rico. Only
Dang.
Guam has it further worse, and Guam's all the way out like closer to Dagon, Japan. But when you actually put it in a world comparison, the gross domestic product of Mississippi itself is actually larger than the poorest country, Moldova, in Europe.
Hmm.
So when you think about it in the sense of it, this one state out of our own country, even though it is downtrodden and everything else. Oh Jesus, don't say that. Thanks, Dave. But but, but when you think about Mississippi, like everybody thinks that it's all bad and everything, but we really got to look at a USA in the perspective that our worst place is still better than several European countries, and definitely the majority of the continent of Africa and several of the Southeast Asia and Indo-Pacific and oceanic type countries. So Mississippi might get a bad rap and it sucks, but on a grander scale and just on an American scale, Mississippi's not a bad fucking place to live.
You know what? All things in perspective can be justified and make sense because when you say it like that, I'd agree with you.
Yeah, and it's sad that I mean, I'm not saying that we're deluded on this, but with the grandiose way that we have in America, and it goes with sports too. We all think that we have the best of the best, and we truly do in a global scale. Our sports, our basketball, and we're going to show it here in the Olympics over the next 2 weeks. Our basketball men's team have the best athletes. They don't have the best team, and I definitely want to talk about that if we can.
Ooh.
Oh no, because that game on Saturday really got my attention. Um,
Okay.
but we have the best athletes. We're going to dominate the Olympics on the athletic stage. Our economies are so large that our economies are so large that the stuff that we have, we were able to keep that. Uh, Here's the greatest thing that we've got, and nobody ever realizes this: we have the largest inland waterway system than anywhere else in the world combined.
Oh wow.
The Mississippi, and the Missouri. The Missouri is the largest river is the largest river in the U.S., but it's a tributary of the Mississippi. Combined on that, that acreage gives us by far the largest agricultural field for a population in a country than by far a lot of other developed places. And that's the funny thing is that you say Putin up here. That's the reason why they're trying to invade the Ukraine is because the Ukraine is the breadbasket of Europe. Yes, I get that. I get that. But just on the U.S. on our scale, we have such the greatest things out here. But we do have the greatest sports. Even our sports, we call our sports the world champions. NBA world champions. We don't call them NBA champions. We call them NBA world champions because our hockey. We call our Stanley Cup champions the world champions as well. Super Bowl. We call them the football world champ. We for fuck's sake, baseball. We call it the World Series, even though only two countries participated, and only the other country only has one team and hasn't been there since 1994.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah. So we say that our champions are world champions. And yes, we do have that scale wise. And you know what? I say this too because think about it in my personal love about this one. Tell me how I got no idea.
Don't read the comments, coach.
Yeah, I'm not.
Focus.
So, all right, NASCAR. NASCAR, we think our greatest driver, Kyle Larson, who just won today over at Indianapolis, is the world championship driver. Max Verstappen, the current world champion driver in Formula One, has a claim of being world champion because they race around the world and it's an international series. Why is it that we promote our own internal champion as a better driver than we do an international champion? For instance, many people think Jimmy Johnson is the greatest driver in the United States, or Richard Petty, even the great Dale Earnhardt Sr., number 3, 7-time world champion. You know who else is a 7-time world champion? Michael Schumacher and the great Lewis Hamilton. Lewis Hamilton is a much, much better driver than any of the drivers that we've had in the United States driving for NASCAR. Hands down. Better talent, better with vehicles. But we consider our drivers more champions. Our baseball teams. We consider our baseball players the greatest players that ever lived. Yet we ignore or don't think that they should count the baseball that's played professionally in Japan. Here's a great one for you. You know who actually has the all-time hit record?
Mm-mm.
It is Ichiro. You know why? He's got 1,078 some odd hits in Japan. Combined with his numbers in the Major League Baseball, he has more total hits than Pete Rose. Now, Ichiro, of course, got enough hits that he'll be in the Hall of Fame just regardless of that. But we ignore all 10 of the years that Ichiro played in Japan and don't put that in perspective. He's actually the all time hit king. Think about that. And this is where my part comes in on this. And I want to say this about basketball. NBA world champion Chicago Bulls. When that was said, that was the truth. The NBA champion Boston Celtics. Well, back in the 80s, when they said that, that was the truth. I'll even go to the part right here when they said that the NBA world champion Golden State Warriors, I would say that is the truth. Now, as I am looking at the international fields of basketball, and I'm not talking about the women's because even though those professional leagues get a lot more better competition and pay, I am not well versed in women's professional anything. But when it comes down to men's basketball, there has been significant strides on these international teams and the teams that are playing primarily in other countries. Europe, Great Britain, Australia, Africa, doesn't matter what country it's happening. And this past Saturday, I don't know how in the heck our teams have become so arrogant that they can barely beat South Sudan. I don't know if you saw this, buddy, but our 2024 Olympic team of, LeBron, Steph, Durant, Halliburton was on this one. Morant's on this one. Anthony Davis, Embiid, etc. The current roster that was out there right now, when I was watching the games and flipping it back and forth from something else, I had to turn it off because the basketball was so disgusting that at one point USA was down by 18 to South Sudan. These guys were Division One ball players that didn't make it into the NBA and are now playing professionally overseas. And while they don't have the talent to play the great athleticism of the NBA, these guys from South Sudan nearly took the best NBA players on the court right now and beat them. Yeah, go ahead, King. Show the video, bud, because LeBron's layup it just shows that in a situation that we shouldn't even be in, where LeBron needed a layup. Sorry, let's go ahead, bud.
All right, so I'm going to keep the audio off in case we get zucked.
Yeah,
But
yeah. So, and as you're looking at it right there, here it is. LeBron goes in for the drive, and yes, all right, game-winning layup. Right after that, they couldn't get out. LeBron on a drive wins the game, 101 to 100 over South Sudan.
now South Sudan did have a chance,
Mm-hmm.
and I believe we're also going to see that here.
Oh, we're going to see. Okay,
There
here.
we go.
Okay,
Yep.
good.
So they had a chance with 8 seconds left to win the game. And for those of y'all that are catching up, these games are considered exhibition games leading into the Olympics. So if they lost here, it's not like it's that catastrophic because it doesn't keep them like out of the medals or anything like that.
Yeah.
And it's also not the first time that a Team USA lost during an exhibition and then didn't go on to play well. Now there's been Olympic teams in the past. One team, I think the 2014 team, I believe, they lost 2 exhibition games and went on to win gold in those
Yep.
Olympics. But watch how close this was.
Yeah. And here it comes, and man, South Sudan could have ended up winning it, but they didn't. And there we go. USA wins. And yeah, I get this is a meaningless game. But this brings me back to something that happened in 1992. Okay. And regardless of whatever anybody says, I don't care what the debate is, I don't care what year it is, etc. Whenever I see USA and for basketball, 1992, the dream team is going to be the standard, bar none, period, have to be better than this. I'm looking at that game right there and realizing how far off USA basketball has come, not only in the way that they prepare for the Olympics, but the way that they do not play into the international style that these other teams now are playing here and are getting much, much better in.
Mm-hmm.
I thought 2004 was an absolute embarrassment with that Larry Brown team over in Greece. I honestly thought that they just put LeBron on that team, Carmelo and Wade on that team, and had him ride the bench just to shut up people. And that's unfortunately what would have happened to Caitlin Clark. That's the honest to God's truth. We know that was going to happen if that was the case. So didn't want an embarrassment like that in 2004. But that 2000, that 92 team, that 92 team, it's been well documented, went out and started playing together, knowing that how great of everybody was and how great they should be able to play together. And I, watching that game Saturday and seeing the way that these guys play, reminded me that yes, we have the best athletes, but damn, the NBA is more individualist, and we are going to be struggling in this Olympics until somebody becomes a damn team on here.
Ooh.
That 92 team, Angola. Let's just remember that team. Angola lost 125 to 40 something. It was an 85-point blowout. And everybody on that the dream team could not go around Barcelona. Athletes in Barcelona were tracking down the dream team. They were the Beatles in that 92 Olympics. Ev- Everywhere you went. And by the way, here in America, for those of you that are not old enough to remember, that dream team was on every freaking bit of merchandising everywhere. It was at McDonald's, it was on the TV with Jordan and Gatorade. Everybody had the damn basketball jerseys. You had the shirts on with the Dream Team. The Dream Team was an American sensation. And it's what USA basketball set the precedence on. And they freaking set the precedence with the greatest assembly of freaking basketball players that ever came together. But that team came together. And that team came together actually before the Olympics even started when they nearly lost to Bobby Hurley, Grant Hill, and a bunch of college players that were playing as a team like these other teams and these international teams have been doing. And I'm realizing right now that we took that in 2004 into a shit situation because of the way USA basketball was handled. This is the first time that USA basketball has been handled right that I don't feel confident that Team USA is going to win the gold medal.
Oh.
That's how bad of a team game Team USA is playing right now, man. It was all look at that final play of the game. It was an ISO for LeBron, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what the entire offense was for the entire game. It was whoever got the ball, ISO, go get out of the way and let them go one on one. South Sudan let everybody go ahead and shoot. A lot of people took threes and it sucked. When I saw South Sudan playing, they were cutting, they were playing around with the ball, they were moving, they were playing together as a team. And you know what happened? They almost beat Team USA. And when you look at these other great teams, the Czech Republic teams, the Slavic, the Balkan teams, the other international teams from the Caribbean as well as the African teams, there are going to be teams that have been playing together with almost equal talent that are going to be going against a team of players that are playing one on one. You brought up something about the exhibitions not mattering anything, right? And hopefully somebody would lose or lose. You do this in the exhibition. Let me go way back into the history, part enough where I think only David Cunningham might actually remember this because I wasn't even born yet. And thank God I read up on it on history as well as in the movies. But the Winter Olympics in 1980, very famous because of Team USA's hockey.
Okay.
It's where the Miracle on Ice happened. Before the Olympics, several exhibition games just like this was placed on. USA and the Soviet Union played one of those games. Team USA lost 9-1. Herb Brooks took that game, took that loss, scouted everything they did in that game, and prepared the team as motivation to win it. That was part of their great preparation to beat Russia in the 1980 Olympics. I halfway thought that if Team USA could have lost this game, maybe they would do something with that. But Team USA just barely won this game.
Hmm.
And they're not going to be shown what is going to be bad unless they get a first round loss. If they get a group loss, maybe it's going to smack somebody in the head and say, hey, we need to start stepping up and playing as a damn team.
And
Until that happens, yeah.
I
Until
was
that
gonna
happens,
say
they're
I
going to
do have to
struggle.
make a correction. I said 2014 Olympic team. I meant 2012.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I got you, buddy. And you know what? That 2012 team, man, there was debate that 2012 team was also one of the best of all time.
Well, it had Kobe on it. It
Yeah.
was one of those. It's like it had Kobe and LeBron and D Wade. It was coached by Coach K. I
Mellow.
mean, if they the 2012 team, when you looked at the point differential with points for versus points against, they absolutely dominated.
Yeah. But and you know what? Somebody actually asked. I remember this was on a sports radio team. They said if somebody played right now, if the 92 team played the 2012 team, who would win? And
Ooh.
I said no, and I said the 2012 team would win by one. And the only reason why is because they're 20 years older than all of the players right now. Because there was no, and it would be a stab in the heart to Jordan, but there would be no fucking way that any team, even right now, if you put all members of that damn dream team on the court right now, I guarantee you they would beat any of the Olympic teams that are out right now. I guarantee you.
Yeah.
And you know, here's the funny thing about this. Nobody really remembers this about this, but the best player on that team, who also was the biggest asshole on that team to every other player, was Charles Barkley.
No kidding. Okay.
That's what, and you know what? That's what kickstarted that 93 season for Barkley. Barkley made it to the Olympics, and everybody was all talking about Jordan and Bird and everything. And Barkley got pissed off that he wasn't being recognized in the same ilk that Jordan and Bird and Magic and everybody else were on the team. So he said, "Fuck this," and he turned it up. That when you see that '93 season and that why he won that MVP, he took what he had from the Olympics and just dominating everybody in there, and then brought it to that Suns team that brought it to Game 6 of the '93 Finals against the Bulls.
Nice.
Yeah, yeah. That's that. It's funny, man. I talk about reverence of that '92 team, man. Think about it in this sense. Larry Bird, the greatest white man to ever play basketball. I don't think there's another higher compliment to be made about Larry Bird other than that. Okay. That's the best way to say it. Larry Bird played the least amount of minutes and scored the least amount of points for Team USA. And he actually retired after the Olympics and did not play another game after winning that gold medal.
Go out
So
on top.
even on Perfect Circle, you had somebody who started in Christian Leitner, and he's the only member of the team that is not individually in the Hall of Fame, but he's in the Hall of Fame now as a member of the team. Every person that was there got into the Hall of Fame, and even came out of the Hall of Fame and played again in the NBA. That's how good that damn team was. You can even go on to 96, 2000, 2004. Look at all those teams. And I guarantee you that there are more than two players that are not in the Hall of Fame on every single one of those teams.
Yeah.
That's a statistical fact.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Here's one. Nobody remembers that Steve Smith was on the daggone 96 Olympic team. Who the hell's Steve Smith? Yeah, nobody remembers Steve Smith. He was a 6'8" point. He was a 6'8" point guard that played for Michigan State. They thought he was going to be the next Magic Johnson.
No.
Steve Smith isn't in there. Penny Hardaway was on that team.
Yeah, I know Penny Hardaway was. I don't think Steve Smith was.
Steve Smith was
No.
either on the 90. Was he on the 96 or was he on the 94 team
He was
that
on
had
the
Isaiah Thomas on it?
He was on the same one with Ray Allen. That was because I was in high school. So that was the 2000 year. Yeah.
Okay, now 96 was when I was in high school. I thought Steve Smith was on that year. Okay, so it was the 2000 team.
I'm confident about that because I do know who Steve Smith is, and if I were to look it up, let me see.
Yeah,
Yep.
but you see where I'm getting at. Like when you looked at and you know what? When you looked at everybody who had played around that for played internationally, that group of teams, everybody said not only was that the best team, but there was only one team and that it had a similar two similar players on that team. And this is a good one. Oh, I got to talk. Uh, well, she wouldn't be playing, David, unfortunately. That's unfortunate and it's true. But I want to bring up something. Okay, thanks, David.
Yep.
David
Thank you.
confirmed he won in 2000. I want to actually bring something up about another great Olympic team that was out. The other greatest Olympic team that they said was in 1984. So 8 years prior to the Dream Team. 1984 was still college players. So Patrick Ewing was on that team at center, who was still playing for Georgetown. But that was also the year that Bobby Knight coached Michael Jeffrey Jordan, who had just been drafted by the Bulls. And he said that he was the best player that he ever coached. And that 1984 Olympics was the greatest single performance by a basketball player ever by Michael Jeffrey Jordan up until that point. Kind of fun, and maybe that should go into the goat type of things because all right, here's something for you. Okay, I'm going to bring something up about our basketball. Another basketball point. And honestly, I hope some of y'all that are out here in the audience are not want to hear me rambling on or at least intrigued. If not, tell me to shut the fuck up in the chats and I'll shut the fuck up. Hell, but where was I? All right,
Interesting basketball fact.
About Jordan and about basketball. So Jordan's a two-time Olympian. Durant has a chance this year to become a four-time gold medalist, the only one that will has happened for basketball. But I just thought about this as far as our basketball coaches. Do we have better professional basketball head coaches, or do we have better college professional basketball coaches, or better college basketball coaches in America? What do you think our best coaches are?
Hmm. I'm going to say college, and my reason is, so this isn't. Mm, I'm going to say college because mm, no, I'm going to say pros. And the reason why I'm going to say pros is because you have to work with egos as well. At the college level, you don't. So people are listening and they're going with what the coach's inputs is. I think in the pros, that changes a bit. You're more of a manager. Oh, no. I was just about to debunk my own thing. In the pros, you're
Mm,
more of a manager than a coach. So I think the better coaches are at the college level.
okay. Okay. I want to kind of bring this up because somebody had mentioned something about, or somebody who I was listening to was talking about Danny Hurley and Mike Krzyzewski, and thanks David Cunningham because I'm bringing up Coach K, Team USA, and Danny Hurley, and kind of going through that. And David, yeah, Sean Marion, what was his name? The Matrix.
Yep.
Yeah, he was on there. Definitely not a Hall of Famer. Um, okay, so about our coaches. I'm going to think about this just as far as name recognition and what they have brought to the overall game of basketball and their accomplishments. When I think of head coaches for basketball programs in the NBA, Phil Jackson, definitely top of the list.
Mm-hmm.
Number two on that list, who would that be?
Could you go Pat Riley?
I mean, you can go Riley maybe, but Riley's only won four championships, same as Kerr, more and less than Popovich.
And then yeah, I'd say
So,
Jackson, Riley, and
so,
Popovich.
so you
Those are the three that come up.
Yeah, so you see, we've so out of all of that, we're obviously missing Red Auerbach and guys like
You could say Doc
y-
Rivers.
you know Doc Rivers has only won one championship. So I bring this up because David Cunningham, we're going to get to him. I bring this up because out of all of those gentlemen, The only real ones that we know anything about are the ones who have won championships. There's a guy, I'm not sure if you remember Lenny Wilkens. Lenny Wilkens was one of the greatest all time winningest coach within the NBA. He was also a Hall of Famer with Seattle Supersonics.
Mm-hmm.
Lenny Wilkens never won a championship, and nobody ever remembers him whatsoever.
Correct.
Okay?
Yeah.
I just thought about this. Would you have traded the. Well, I'll give you a good one. Eric Spoelstra. Eric Spoelstra's got two
He's
championships.
got two of them.
Is he ever going to make it into the Hall of Fame?
Ha. He's got the longevity. So, in my opinion,
He doesn't win
because
another. He doesn't win another championship. You think he's a Hall of Fame coach?
as as he's currently the winningest coach in Heat history, yes.
Okay.
And that's what gets him there.
See, now I really don't think of Spoelstra as that type of coach. And I'm going to say this: another guy who's only won two championships is a coach by the name of Dean Smith. So let's kind of just compare an equal thing on that. If Eric Spoelstra, would you rather have more money and two NBA championships, or be Dean Smith and be considered an institution, but have only won two championships? There are coaches that are out there for prestige, and there are coaches that are out there for money. And it came to that part where I started to realize something about this Danny Hurley and Mike Krzyzewski and John Wooden and Bobby Knight, and the difference of the coaching styles versus what a professional coach is. We produce the best basketball coaches, and every single one of them are within the college ranks. And I have to say this in defense of Danny Hurley for him not accepting that Lakers job. We just mentioned Mike Krzyzewski. Mike Krzyzewski, Bobby Knight, and currently right now I don't remember who it is, but Krzyzewski for a long time was Team USA's coach. They went to Larry Brown and yeah, it's messed it up. They went to Chuck Daly for the 92 team for the pros, and that's where they kind of kept everybody going with Rudy Tomjanovich and let's have a pro coach. But then when they went to a college coach, it started going really well. Again, when they went to Coach K.
Yep.
They had Bobby Knight there. He was a great daggone coach. And he brought those teams together. Who's the coach this year?
It is Coach Kerr.
Oh, a pro coach.
Oh, it took you a while to get there, and I didn't know where you were going with it, but I got it. That was well done, Coach. That's well
where
done.
I'm coming from.
That was well done.
We've got a pro coach with pro players playing against a team oriented game or team style basketball without a team coach. Coach K, all of these great coaches that we have to help form teams are all in the college. We have a mix match here. We have a clash of styles. That's why I'm stating that that there's going to be an issue with this. And I am going to defend Danny Hurley on this. Danny Hurley has a chance right now to be considered one of the all-time greats, and all he needs to do is win one more championship. And he could be in an A. Smith Hall of Fame.
Mm-hmm. Easy.
If he wins a championship within the next 2 years, he's in a Hall of Famer, right?
Mm-hmm.
If he doesn't win a championship for the Lakers in the next 2 years, he's fired. There's legacy in coaches, and that's why the pro coaches you never remember, but the college coaches are the best, and you do remember. Think about that in that sense. Danny Hurley would have been fired in 2 years if he didn't deliver a championship. Right now, they're all or nothing right now with JJ Redick unless LeBron goes ahead and says something. Hey, keep JJ in. Yeah, and it's sad to say that right now I wish that there isn't a pro coach that is going to be coaching a bunch of pros right now. In the NBA, here's a great example. In the NBA right now, even though Jalen Brunson really has become that MVP type player, the New York Knicks are playing a team basketball game
Correct.
that's kind of reminiscent of the Detroit Pistons in '04 or '05. I can't remember what year that was. It's reminiscent of the early Knicks teams as well as kind of the Detroit teams of the early '90s. That type of team can disrupt the predominantly one-on-one play of the NBA as long as there's a coach that can help cultivate that. So maybe Rudy Tomjanovich is not the best coach in New York, but I digress from that. So where I'm overall getting at right now is that there is a mismatch between Team USA and the rest of the teams within this entire Olympic thing, with the entire Olympic when it happens tournament, whatever the fuck they call them. Games. That's what they're called, Olympic Games. So all throughout these games, we're going to see a mismatch of Team USA, and it takes one good mismatch, much like Team USA versus the Soviet Union in 1980, to cause an upset. And it can happen. And it may happen. And I do hope it happens in the group round, because if it happens in the tournament and they don't medal, oh my God, is there going to be hell to pay?
Mm-hmm.
And that's going to be even worse, because one of these losers is going to say something about somebody who needs to be elected in November. And then all we're going to have to do is say, hey, you didn't even bring home the gold.
Yeah.
we get the ultimate excuse for everybody.
This is true. Give me 1 second, coach,
No,
as
you're
I gotta
good,
make
buddy.
an update on something
You're good.
here.
I mean, but God, what sports are you actually looking forward to? Other than I know we're going to talk about the basketball and the track and field and the gymnastics. Simone will obviously be something, but is there like another sport that you're going to be looking at for the Olympics, man?
No, gymnastics and like the archery stuff, but besides that,
I mean, what else? All right, so the track and field, the swimming, that's another one. I mean, the
yeah,
swimming
yeah.
is always the diving one always gets me. I love it when they get off on that 10-meter one, like that concrete half the size of the balcony, half the size of a building drop that they go into the pool. That one's
Mm-hmm.
pretty good. But fuck, are we gonna have to like report on fencing, sumo, judo, Greco-Roman, five knuckle wrestling? I think golf's also on this too. I mean,
Golf is, so is
well,
shooting.
hey, wait a minute. Okay, King, I am giving you assignment.
Let's hear
You and Michelle are the official beach volleyball correspondents for the sports bar.
it.
You must watch
You didn't think I
together
wasn't?
together both the men's and the women's ones. Those are the ones that you need to go. You need to go. You have to watch. You have to be fair, so you have to watch the men's and the women's one.
Did you not think I wasn't?
Oh my God! Oh dear, great googly moogly. Yeah, that one's going to be. In fact, if I'm right, aren't they? They're doing something with like, if I'm right, I think the River Seine is going to be used for the swimming events like they did in like the first several of the Olympics. I heard
So
something
so
like that.
so I have heard of that, and I'm gonna tell you how I heard it. One of my coworkers and his spouse is flying over to Paris, and they're going to visit the Olympics. And I thought that that was really cool. And one of the things he told me is that when the venue had got announced for this year's Olympics, the governing body and sponsors and a bunch of other people spent millions of dollars
Yeah.
to do the cleaning and everything that's needed so that the swimmers can swim in that channel or that river. So it's going to be
Oh,
one of the
that's
first
awesome.
times that it's happened in like decades.
That's
So,
awesome, man.
yep, yep,
You know what? We should do that for the 2028 ones, man. Seriously.
hmm
The 2028 ones are going to be in Los Angeles, right?
yep.
So let's go ahead and get all of those canals that are cleaned. You know, those ones that they had that are, storm drains, but were only used for like filming the Terminator movies. You
Hmm.
got all those around there in LA. Let's use those areas right there for the freaking 2028 Olympics. In fact, even better, we could actually use the Port of Compton or the Port of Long Beach for the diving events.
Hmm.
Yeah, let's use that. Let's use our natural resources to host these events. We don't need to build another Staples Center or another SoFi or another arena for these Olympics, even though I think SoFi basically is like now going to be the default. You're going to have a big event, you're going to have it at SoFi. You know, we don't need to build any more of that. Let's think ecological. Come on, we're in California. We got to be progressive with our Olympics. Let's do fencing. Let's do fencing in East LA. Okay. In fact, you don't even need to do it inside. Let's just do it in the street. Okay.
Man, there's some news that came out of the preparation for the Olympics in Los Angeles. And brother, let me tell you, the amount of money, the Olympics brings money. It brings money, it brings tourism, it brings eyes, no matter where it's at. But the stress level at the locations also skyrocket up.
Oh
I
yeah.
don't want to be anybody that is anywhere around Los Angeles for those Olympics. I don't envy them whatsoever. They were talking about one of the transit projects that they're looking at using for the 2028 Olympics, and the representative that's there, what's that lady? Maxine Waters was
Yeah.
talking about
Poverty.
how uh not doing that project is ridiculous because they're seeking $2 billion to make that happen. That's
Yeah.
billion with a B. I don't know if people realize how much 2 billion is, but that's a lot of money.
Man. Man. And yeah, okay. We've heard about this and we've kind of seen this over the past, but hosting the Olympics is never a money maker. In fact, the vast majority of the time, including the Atlanta Olympics, the host city has lost money doing
Oh,
that. So there's been like an economic downturn in that time period post Olympics, and a lot of the ones have happened like permanently. Well, 96, they converted a lot of the places into the greater metro area, and obviously the greater metro area has expanded. So they've been able to kind of recoup it over time. And now that stadium that was built was also now going to one of the colleges, after hosting the Braves, and several of the other infrastructure has gone there.
and for context, for people that don't know, the
Yeah.
'96 Olympics was Atlanta, Georgia.
Yes. I'll give another domestic one because I've been to the Olympic Village in Utah from 2002. The Olympic Village in 2002 is now the National Ability Center in what's it called in Park City, Utah. That's exactly where the Olympic Village is. They've turned that area into a place. In fact, a lot of veterans organizations utilize that area for different things, but it's a lot of used for people with mobility issues and disabilities, and it's a great parking area. They've utilized the infrastructure, but the city still had yet to recover for it. If you look at the Athens Olympics and the what was the one Brazil and Athens, and as well as Shanghai, their infrastructure that they built for the Olympics has now gone complete to rot. It's decayed. It's caused financial downturn. Right after the Athens Olympics in 2004, there was such an economic downfall that even while they went through the world downfall, they were still having a bad economic downfall in Greece, and it's still continuing till this day.
Oh wow.
Brazil's having many economic problems. We could talk about that all day, but even with the facilities that were used for the Olympics being turned around from World Cup venues, many of them are still not being utilized. Even as soccer teams moved in, they're still not at full capacity. Shanghai has so much construction and empty places. The place is unaffordable. We're not going to talk about that area of politics, but you see where I'm getting at.
Mhm.
Sochi, another one. Moscow, that Olympic park that was there. They had to do something with it, so they made a damn Grand Prix out of it, and that Grand Prix ran for about 3 or 4 years in that entire Olympic district. I will say it was the most boring race of the year outside of Monaco. And they never went back after Russia invaded the Ukraine. So it's glad that they're not racing in Sochi anymore, but it was a terrible race, and that's what they've been utilizing. LA, thank God, has enough of the infrastructure already inside it. Between the uh, between the Rose Bowl, the Dodger Stadium, Dagon, the Memorial Stadium, the other billions of stadiums around there, and SoFi, Staples Center, the LA Arena, the Coliseum, all of the other places surrounding it. Plus, they're going up to the other areas in California to go do other things. So we don't need the infrastructure. And thank God we don't need the infrastructure over there, because if we did need the infrastructure, the US would be in further development bullshit. That $2 million, even though $2 billion sounds like a hell of a lot for an infrastructure type of thing, compared to what the other countries have been faced with what they've built and now have just used it for one time use and now is decay. We should be so lucky to
Mhm.
only have to worry about $2 billion in that sense. But this is also California. That cost is not going to be 2 billion. It's going to be 5 billion, and it's not going to be complete for the 2024 Olympics. It's going to be completed in the 2096 Olympics.
This is
It's
true.
California we're talking about here.
Yep. Now, let's see, there's a couple of different things with the Olympics as well. We have the location that's going to be coming up soon. So we are going to be reporting, talking about the medals and different things like that. It was a good thing for the world to see that Microsoft outage. It was also talked about as well as the organizers for the upcoming Paris Games had talked about how cyber attacks are part of everyone's daily lives. The
Oh,
Olympic Games are a huge target, obviously. We have a huge amount of safeguards in place. I can't go into details about it, even if I could explain it.
yeah.
But just be assured that our people and partners are very, very prepared. And that's something that you should say. The 2018 Winter Olympics had a big cyber attack that
Yep.
severely kind of hurt some things or whatnot. So
Yep.
it was good for the world to kind of see that, and for the Olympics to the amount of prepping and planning that goes into this. They pay people well to make sure that this thing operates as
Yeah.
smooth as it does. And look, there's going to be hiccups. Obviously, there's going to be hiccups, but things at this stage with all of the people involved for it to be ran as well as it is internationally, as things have been in the past, I'm going to give the people props, and a little bit of grace should be given to folks that are trying to travel for this stuff,
Yeah.
as you're going to have security stuff to worry about, sanitation stuff to worry about, transportation stuff to worry about. So if
And
you are traveling for this stuff or around it, just don't be dumb.
now
Don't be dumb.
now there's two things. There's another thing I also want to kind of bring up about Olympics too, is because even though and we can use the last Olympics as a world type of event. Um, there's been politics always played over at these Olympics.
Mhm.
Russia will not be participating in this Olympics right now because of all of everything that's happening, and you've got that. But I just thought about this regarding, politics in 2021 or 2022, and when it comes to Olympics and things like that. there are fanatics that will happen and will target the Olympics specifically. Munich in '72 was the worst one, where the Israeli team was shot and killed, and Mark Spitz, who at that time was the greatest Olympian that had ever competed, was ushered out of the United States because he was Jewish. 1936 or 32, Hitler used the Olympics to portray the Nazi regime throughout the world. That's the Jesse Owens one, where Jesse Owens won 4 gold medals right in front of Hitler. It was kind of America's fuck you to him. It's an awesome damn thing to definitely. Yeah, yeah. In fact, that's another. I hate to say this. I think Jesse Owens actually gets a little bit of discredit when it comes down to famous African American athletes. We got it. Well, that's another topic for another show. But so in 2022, it was right after the Winter Olympics that Russia participated in that they invaded Ukraine. And everybody had been talking about that leading up to the Winter Olympics. And then after the Winter Olympics, when the world stage was finally over, it was back to, yeah, we're invading it. France is a bunch of land burning peasants who live in a socialist economy, and it's absolutely useless for nothing but driving all the way through to get to Italy. I hate France. I think French people stink, and I hope that they all, have shaved their armpits. Okay.
Oh,
That said, there has been more ridiculous BS activity that has happened in France when it comes down to protesting, demonstrating, and probable terror activity. So, yes, they need to be a head on a swivel. But thank God it's not like Qatar. Because the last big world event that we had for sports was the Qatar World Cup, right?
okay.
You remember what Qatar did with everybody who was traveling in?
I
Last
don't, but I know that
l-
they don't play over there. They don't play.
last the last minute, Budweiser, the officials,
Oh
FIFA
yeah,
sponsor. You remember that? Yeah,
yeah.
they
We
had
talked about it.
all that beer over there, and then they could not sell any of that beer or give it away or do anything of that.
That's right. We talked about it.
So, and on top of that, Qatar has also had several civil or human rights issues about their forced labor and things that happen with that. So there's no human rights concepts or things that are happening around France, at least around this Olympics, which I'm rather happy about. We have to take a break from that, and we just got to worry about random assholes demonstrating and protesting.
Now, do you think that, and this is off topic, as well as with the Olympics, you've heard about the women's all-star team that beat the women's Olympic team? Again, this is one of those things that just because it happened, people shouldn't panic, because on the women's side, they've won 7 consecutive gold medal championships. All right. But the all-star team did beat the Olympic team during the last one as well. And they dominated. And also Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark, who you could say actually was the second best player on that all-star team. Uh she had a really good game, man. Do you think that the Olympics didn't do right by not including Caitlin Clark on that? And I know we've talked about this, but since we've had this all-star game as well, how do you feel about that?
Okay. Okay, so that's what they were talking about on the sports radio when I changed the channel. You think I'm fucking with you? No,
No,
I
I believe it.
I put it on Mad Dog Sports, and somebody was talking about, you wouldn't believe the WNBA game, All Star game, and last night, and here to talk about it is okay, what's on 83 and 84 and 85. So I literally changed the channel to NASCAR. Okay, that should have just told you about how desperate I was not to talk about that. But I heard snippets and I heard little things about what happened in that game. And do I think that Caitlin Clark should have been on the Olympics? No. No. Do I think she should be on one now? No. And I am going to say this in the oh, okay. I said this once in a while. I said this once a very long time ago to a friend of mine, but it was true. In 2006, I said this. Caitlin Clark needed something to piss her off because ever since she's been snubbed, she's gotten better.
Yes, yes,
And you know
yes.
what? You know what? That's what the all-time greats needed was to get knocked down. And
Mm.
I give two phenomenal examples. And I said this in 2006. I said that LeBron James is not going to win an NBA championship until he gets knocked on his ass enough to put that drive in him to either do something to win or, become the better player. And we know how that went. And same thing with you too, Kevin Durant. But we're not going to hate that part of the game because he went back to Cleveland and he won the championship by himself. He won that championship. Okay. That's all you need to say about greatness. So Jordan needed his ass kicked, not only by Bird, but he needed his ass kicked, but especially by the Pistons. Because that's what made him better.
Let
That's
me
what made
ask.
it. Yeah.
I want to ask this question to David. You bring up a great point. We have 100 people watching us right now. That's fantastic. If you hadn't hit that like button,
Oh, hell
please hit that
yeah.
like button and repost, share, do all of that stuff. But David Cunningham said that they also need Enrique, and I'm going to say this, and I feel pretty confident about this. After watching a little bit more of the WNBA playing, after watching what Enrique did as well,
Yeah.
I would choose Enrique over Caitlin
Okay.
and insert Enrique
Yeah.
into that Olympic team over on the women's side
So
first.
see,
She
okay.
balls. And
Is
she's not that tall, but she's like the Allen Iverson
okay.
of her roster.
Hey,
She gets
hey,
everybody involved and
I'll
scores.
I'll take your word for it. I'll take your word for it. Where I'm coming from is that Caitlin Clark got pissed off. Jordan needed somebody tough to get him out there. In fact, fuck that. Don't you remember that Jordan got so pissed off that he got cut from the varsity team as a sophomore that he went back and he went home crying and thought he was going to quit basketball?
Mm-hmm.
That's the genesis of that story.
Yeah.
Caitlin Clark needed something to get her mind straight. LeBron finally needed something to get his mind straight to make that next step. You know who else did too? Kobe Bean Bryant. And he did that with Phil. As
Let's put.
soon,
I'm sorry.
yeah,
Actually, go ahead.
as soon as he as soon as he came up with Phil, that's when Kobe became Kobe. Because Kobe before that, he was getting knocked around too. And he was. That Laker team was getting knocked around, and they were getting. It was by the Utah Jazz, and then also by the San Antonio Spurs. So the greats needed to get knocked. Caitlin Clark got knocked. She did not make that Olympic team, and she didn't deserve to make that Olympic team. And that should have ticked her off. And last night, she had a chance to prove how much that ticked her off. And I'm glad that she is the player that she is now instead of the player that she was over 2 months ago when they made that selection. Because 2 months ago, she wasn't an Olympian. Would she be Olympian now? No, I don't think they deserve to even give it to her. I think she should utilize that and get pissed off. And then in 4 years from now, when 2028, when it's in Los Angeles, she needs to go out there and freaking just put on a show right there in the Staples Center or whatever that place Balmer's making. The one where the Clippers are going to be playing.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
there's a
yeah,
new
yeah.
yeah, there's a new stadium. There's that going to be there's going to be that. There let Caitlin Clark in 2028 in Los Angeles become America's freaking superstar. That's what needs to happen.
I'm gonna tell you what's gonna happen, and it sucked that she got injured. Cameron Brink was gonna be that front running person playing in the Los Angeles market. She's got that tall blonde thing going for her. If she could have produced the stats as well, and she's gonna have the opportunity to do so if she recovers from her injury properly, that she could be one of the faces of the league.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. I'm just
Hey,
saying.
I, all right. Interesting thing, and I want to kind of bring something up to you because I can't believe I'm bringing up a WNBA thing.
Uh-oh.
All right. No, a little interesting. And I want your perspective on this. Do you think that Caitlin Clark being heterosexual has a little bit more to do with her appeal in the WNBA? Dominated by, women that like women.
Hmm. No.
Okay. I bring
Yeah.
this up as the perception, and I bring this up as the perception on this, and this is going to about to be a little controversial and sexist, but it probably is,
Come
and it's
on.
true. I think men would actually tune in more if the WNBA if they knew the women were heterosexual.
I agree. I'm just gonna without adding anything.
I,
I agree.
I know it's a little controversial to say that, but I'm saying that in the sense that I there's marketing in the WNBA that can be done for the athlete, but it's always been there for the athlete because all the way before there were always these great athletes. Caitlin Clark also, I believe, last night broke Sue Bird's All Star Game record for assists in a game. Am I correct?
Yep.
Okay.
No,
Sue
no,
Bird.
no, no, no. Actually, she missed it by one.
Oh, she missed about one. Okay, so
Missed it by
she
one.
almost did it in her rookie thing, right? Sue Bird was one of the all-time greats, and Sue Bird could have been marketed like Caitlin Clark, yet she wasn't. I'm just saying. I'm. You keep bringing up this girl from LA, right? You brought up this girl from LA, and the only thing I have seen her play is her Instagram pages. I haven't seen her on the court. I don't know how she plays. I've seen Caitlin Clark on the court, and I've seen half Instagram, like red carpet pictures. It's there's a different type of you know modeling that you're getting at. I'm not saying modeling, excuse me. Different type of PR that you're getting from each one of them. One of them is like the Annika Storm stand. The other one is like the Martina Navratilova. What I'm hoping Caitlin Clark is coming into is the Serena Williams.
Gotcha.
You see where I'm getting at?
Mm-hmm.
Look, Martina Navratilova, for all of you that do not remember her, was the first women's most dominant tennis player, and she looked like coach's picture right now. Okay. Then came somebody else, and she looked like King's bald head. But then came Serena, and let's just say women's tennis became a little bit more popular. Now, it's also to say that Serena was a fucking phenomenal athlete. But I mean, if she was clam slamming, I'm pretty sure that men wouldn't be giving her any type of respect.
Hmm.
It's true.
Yeah.
I
Hey,
hope that,
human nature.
and I hope that Caitlin Clark is that type of Serena. Because what you're describing with that girl from LA is more of the Maria Sharapova. Yeah, that's where I'm coming from with that. You remember Maria Sharapova, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, tennis player, but never nobody. She never won anything. She was just great looking. I hope that girl does that, but Caitlin Clark has that chance to be that Serena Williams instead of being the next Sue Bird, and I hope the WNBA markets her that way.
Now,
And I hope that because of what she is, she could be. I mean, David Cunningham, thank you for bringing that name up. Billie Jean King. Billie Jean King looked like my third grade math teacher, Mr. Klein.
dang,
What?
hold
She
up.
did. Billie Jean King looked like your typical 70s woman gym teacher.
Hmm.
Yeah. That's where it's coming from. I'm just saying. But
All right, we've
yeah.
talked a lot of Olympics. Now I'm going to play this video here while I get our next segment running. Let me get
Wait,
to
is
where
this
I
old
can
boy
find it.
playing basketball?
No, this is a
Oh.
guy uh that does something that I don't think that it looks like he could do. David also said Michelle she was of the feminine looking variety.
Mm-hmm.
Who also she had a decent record. I know that Maria she at one point was ranked number 1, right?
No, Maria Sharapova never was.
Oh.
Maria Sharapova was the early, she ended up being more famous for the boys, for everybody that she was dating. Like she dated like Mark Anthony and the one that ended up turning gay, Ricky Martin. But she was a tennis player that was also doing the calendars and all that other stuff.
Oh,
And
I
yeah,
thought she did attain number 1 status.
no, she never did. She never won a tournament.
Mm.
But because she was like, a knockout gorgeous girl. And if I'm saying Sharapova, I might be saying the wrong name. I want to say it's the right name. But
Yeah,
she was just like, yeah,
Sharapova.
and yeah, that's what, yeah, she never won a tournament, but everybody loved her because what she looked like.
Yeah, she was
And that
she was what Russian with the like the very
yeah,
Russian features. Yeah.
yeah. So she looked great, and that's where I'm like from this girl over here in LA. That's what I'm comparing to. Like, you know what were the twins over there in Miami?
The Cavender,
Caval
Kavanaugh.
Cavender
Yeah,
twins.
Cavender.
Yeah. So the Cavender twins. How many of them are any of them on the Olympic team or in the WNBA right now?
Nope, they probably somewhat
Huh.
walking a red carpet.
I don't even know what they did on there, and there's no marketing for them. And that's the next famous basketball players. At least I knew who they were. And that's man, women's basketball and WNBA still has a damn problem with that. The most famous ones are the ones that you're looking at, not in a way that highlights their athlete,
That,
much in the
that
same way that tennis players were done in that same sense. You know what? Like I said, all throughout the 80s and 90s, all of the tennis women you looked at, you were like, ugh. And then Serena came along, and you were like, holy shit, she's good. Ooh, holy shit, she's thick. you know? I mean,
you know
hey,
what?
it happens.
I was gonna play this video, but I'm actually gonna play some somber news or bring up some somber news real quick before I play the video. That way we can bring the mood back up. So to bring the mood down, rest in peace to 2 sports people who have passed away since our last live stream. The first one that I want to bring up is Jacoby Jones, former NFL player Jacoby Jones, who was born the same year as I was in 1984, passed away in New Orleans at the age of 40. He died in his hometown, passed away July 14 of this year. The cause of death is not unknown. I'm sorry, is not known at this time. He was famous for the 2012 NFL playoffs as a member of the Ravens, in which he caught a game-tying touchdown pass at the end of regulation, which helped then propel the Ravens to an overtime victory. And he followed that up with a 108-yard kickoff return in the
Yeah.
Super Bowl
Super
against the San Francisco 49ers, which as of today is the longest play in Super Bowl history. When
Wasn't it?
he
Wasn't it? And it's funny too because if I remember that play, didn't the lights go out or the transformer go out right after that? So like they said, like his touchdown made the transformers go out in the Superdome.
you know what? I don't remember. I don't remember.
I think that's when yeah, that was the Super Bowl that had that after Beyonce was on the Transformer Blue, and they had that time. It was right after Jacoby Jones's kickoff return for the touchdown. I want to
Nice.
say it was in the vicinity of that, but yeah, I remember that now.
There were a lot of players and coaches that came out that talked about Jacoby Jones as well. The guy from All Standards had a great character about him as well. You wouldn't hear anybody even during his playing days that said that he had that he was just a bad guy. By all appearances, he was a good guy. He went to Lane College. I don't even know where Lane College is located at. All right. But
Shit,
they
you know.
were a Division two team
Hmm.
that play in the Southern Intercollegiate Athletic Conference. Okay. He was
There was a
inducted into their Hall of Fame this year. And I'll, um, I'll wrap this up here in a second. After his NFL playing days, he also was a coach back at Lane as a wide receivers coach, at Calvert Hall College in 2020 as a wide receivers coach, Morgan State for a year as a tight ends coach, and Alabama State as a wide receivers coach. Go ahead, coach.
no. It was something about Lane College. I couldn't remember it now. It's all right.
My
Don't worry
bad.
about it. No, you're all
My
good, buddy.
my bad, coach. We also have, because you talked about Kobe Bryant earlier. Rest in peace to his father,
Hmm.
Joe Jellybean Bryant. Joe Bryant was a player that played in Philadelphia before the to get this, the San Diego Clippers and the Houston Rockets before he took his talents overseas, and he had a long career as both a player and following that as a coach to include teams overseas and the WNBA. So while his father had a pretty long career, primarily as an overseas player, he was not inducted into the Hall of Fame like his son was. He passed away at the age of 69 on July 16, 2024. No cause of death was revealed for the death of Joseph Jellybean Bryant, but that line right there lost a son first and now the father. And Kobe, by all accounts, as far as we know, doesn't have any other sons. So the Bryant name, as far as through that lineage, is done.
Yeah, that's sad. That's sad to hear. Um, Shoot, I honestly hadn't even heard about Joe Jellybean Bryant until Kobe, so I can't say anything about his team. But heck, if I'm right, it was him playing in Europe, and Kobe was considered a worldly talent when he got to the NBA because one of the big things that they used to talk about was he could speak Italian and French and all of that other stuff. You know, like how they have no idea how they can actually play basketball because all they know is et cetera, et cetera. Well, that's what I remember that about him as a rookie. So, rest in peace, Jelly Bean.
Yeah, look, as a player, his stats really weren't that good. He got in, he made the best of it. He had some key contributions as a coach when he was with the Los Angeles Sparks in 2005. They lost in the conference semifinals in 2006. They lost in the conference finals, and in 2011 they had a horrible record of 11-13 and didn't make the playoffs.
Oh, oh, I didn't
Overseas,
even know he. I didn't even know he was a WNBA coach.
Yep, and overseas his record was a little bit better. He finished the highest that he ever finished was second in his division, making it to the playoffs, and then losing in the finals. So no,
You know what?
no cause of death was announced, but the Philadelphia Inquirer are saying that he suffered a major stroke.
Hey, here's another here's a trivia question that will not be on that trivia thing, but it will definitely not be on our next trivia night. But do you know who the all-time winningest WNBA head coach is as far as championships?
I think we talked about it. Off the top of my head, I don't know.
Bill
But
Lambier.
I was saying it's probably a dude.
No, no, I'm not. I am not saying that because it's a dude. But what I'm saying, I'm going back to that coaching thing that I came up over earlier. If I asked you to name me a women's basketball head coach, would Bill Lambier have even come to your mind whatsoever?
For me, yes, because I know who Coach Lambier is.
But would he have been said before Coach Staley, Coach Oriema, Coach Summit, the coach at Stanford, all of the other women's coaches that we know of?
No.
Yeah, we do produce the best college basketball or the best college coaches. We do produce the best coaches, but they're all in college.
All right. Now, since I talked about some really down stuff, let's bring it up here. Coach, we talked about the Cavender twins. Let's show them real quick instead of practicing basketball
Hey
at their
now,
last year at the University of Miami, in which they're coming back for their senior year. They're both walking down doing swimsuit Sports Illustrated things instead of in the gym shooting shots. So that's the Cavender twins. And this was as of about 2 weeks ago. Okay.
well, I mean, well, that's we knew what the name, image, and likeness was going to end up doing, and yep, now we see exactly what the NIL what one half was going to be. I do hope, like, honest to God, I know that we see the extremes on this, but I truly do hope that there an absolute talent that pans out to be world famous and not world famous for their ass. I truly hope that there is somebody out there that a woman these NIL deals. Like I know Shador Sanders ain't going to be that way, but I do hope that freaking the other kid, Manning's kid, turns out to be this generational talent that the NIL deals for because we are now seeing the extreme sides of sports marketing and sports that. I would have had no idea who both of those asses belonged to had they had not played women's basketball and had an NIL deal because even if they were posting this on their Instagram without the NIL deal, they would have been talked about, but they would have been talked about negatively. Now, because of this NIL deal, I know the Cadaver Twins more about their ass than I do about their basketball. And yet, basketball is what introduced me to it. So we
Yep.
have now seen both sides of the spectrum, or we're seeing the negative side of the spectrum when it comes to our sports fandom. I just hope we
Now,
see the positive soon.
yeah, now when they were at Fresno State prior to transferring to Miami, they were putting up points. Hannah, for example, Hannah's stat, she averaged around 15 points per game. She started, played a crap ton of minutes. Her field goal percentage was decent, and if she got to the line, she was good at making her free throws. But being that she's only 5'6" or 5'7", I don't see her advancing past the college level, as she's not like an elite scorer.
Yeah,
She's decent, right?
yeah.
And
She's Division One.
yeah,
That's what it is. Yeah,
yep. And I always find it interesting too when they made this announcement about going to Miami. They have the comments on and things like that, and folks could comment and support. And then when you look up here at the announcement of them uh going to play ball at Miami, here, they end up turning the comments off. I always find different stuff like this fascinating. All right. Because you know that the comments were probably going to end up flaming him. And I'm pretty sure the comments are on for the rest of the stuff. Yep. And look, they got an Under Armour deal with mediocre stats. I mean, you know what? Being able to market is a wonderful thing. So for y'all young athletes out there, make yourself marketable, not just with your stats, but with your overall package, because it matters.
Mm-hmm.
Hate to say it, but it matters. Let's check the comment section here before we continue. David Cunningham said Kobe's parents were not doing good financially and are seeking help from Kobe's wife, Vanessa. They ended up selling one of Kobe's championship rings. Yikes. I did not hear that
Oh,
news, David. Wow.
oh, okay.
And Livy Dunn. Oh, we know about Livy Dunn over here at the sports bar.
Oh,
Livy
yes.
Dunn signed a multi-million-dollar NIL deal with passes in May of 2024. Yep, and I think I did a video on that, but I never published it or produced it. But I
You
was
know,
aware about that one as well.
and the other thing too about Livy, let's be honest here. Everybody knows who the hell Olivia Dunn is just based off of her, her Instagram and all that. But she ain't on any of this damn team. In fact, she's got teammates who are on this Olympic team, right?
Oh, yeah. You know what?
I wonder,
Um,
I wonder, now just hear me out. I mean, obviously we're going to. If not, we don't have a fucking show. uh, I wonder how many times during the Olympics that when Livy Dunn's teammates are mentioned, that they say she goes to LSU and her name is mentioned. I want to see. I mean, I wonder if this is like, even though she was only on the screen for 57 seconds, I just wanted to see how many times they were going to cut to Taylor Swift at the Super Bowl. I want to see how many times they name drop Livy Dunn.
huh. Interesting.
Yeah.
There was something else here. All are fan only candidates. Hold on. Nice one, David. Nice. All
Oh,
right.
good.
I've had this video queued up for a while. This was sent to me by a fan of the show. Shout out to him. And I just thought that, you know what? You never know what you'll get with people. So just check this out.
In the spine, I came with the fellas. Ray Mac got hit in the back of his melon. And if I throw a bullet, I bet he catch like Beckham.
I was surprised that this dude was able to do that, and just a standing no hand backflip and then the run right into the thing. I shared this to say that don't judge a book by its cover, because I
Oh,
did not
yeah.
expect that dude. That was the most unexpected backflip I've seen by anybody.
You'd be surprised, man. Us fat people, we got a good center of gravity right there in our stomachs, and we're able to rotate it around.
You know what? I'm gonna see if I can find it. I might not be able to find it, and I don't want to pause the show for it. I've done a backflip. It is on my TikTok page. I did it COVID year 2020.
Oh, holy crap, man. I haven't done a backflip in, I've done, I think like the last full front flip that I did was when I was like 22 years old.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't done one since. I have never been able to do a complete backflip. Like I could have done not a running backflip, but kind of like I needed a little bit of a jump and it was a twist on a backflip, but not a standing backflip. I was never able to do that. I was more of a calf jumper than I was a thigh jumper. You know what I mean on that?
No, explain.
So there's different ways to jump. And so you know how like when you get when you're jumping. All right, best way to describe it: you go down from your legs and you do like a broad jump. You bend down and then you explode. You utilize your thighs and your calves all at the same time, kind of like you're
Okay.
doing a squat or a leg press. You see where I'm getting at?
Yeah.
But think about it in the sense of basketball that most of the time when you're jumping, you're running and then you're jumping at that same time, right? That's what I've been used to as far as where I go for my jumps is that I got to get like that running kind of start. But when you do that, you do have, you are able to kind of jump with both of the legs if you stop and go up. But if you're going on a fast break or things like that, you usually just go with whatever leg is stiff leg, then you jump off with your calf instead of doing it off of your thighs. So,
Okay.
yeah, there's a difference. Like, you wouldn't do this backflip straight legged. I would try to do it backflip straight legged.
Got you. Now, for those
Yeah.
of y'all that can see, this is me doing a back handspring back in 2020. And I warmed up just a little bit. And after I did it, everything in my body hurt. All right. So if I were to try it now, that would be the same thing. And David said, King, this is why the VA says that you have a back injury that is 0% rated. Actually, you have a good point. Let me do this. And take that off the screen.
Hey, my back injury is at 0% too, so it's listed. Actually, no, I take that back. It's at 10%.
There you go.
Yeah.
And let's see, what's the next thing that we have up for here? You know what? So let's talk about this. That was an athlete that was arrested for voyeurism, and I was like, wait, who or why would this kid get arrested for voyeurism? And I'm going to share this article to talk about things that our troops out there should not do. Okay. So this is I want to reiterate that we here at the Sports Bar, we're trying to also educate people. So for those of y'all that are still in service that are watching, pay attention. LSU's Javian Toviano arrested on video voyeurism charges. And I'm going to see if I can make this a little bit bigger. That's what she said. So LSU sophomore quarterback surrendered to authorities Sunday on charges of video voyeurism. Toviano, 19, of Arlington, Texas, is accused of having sex with the woman and recording it without her consent. The woman told detectives that she found videos of the two on his iPad that were recorded through a clock with the built-in camera that was placed near the bed. She then went on to say that Toviano had recorded them having sex in the past without her consent, and she told him that she did not want to be recorded. Now, when the athlete was pressed by detectives, he admitted to using a hidden camera to record the sexual encounters. All right. So bond information was not immediately available at the time that this was reported on ESPN, and it is unknown if the young kid has an attorney to speak on his behalf. But with everything that had occurred, LSU put out a statement that says that he's been suspended from all team activities in accordance with departmental policies, and we will not have further comment out of respect for the legal process. So here we are, 2 weeks away from preseason practice, and you have a kid that has thrown his opportunity away at an elite level college, right? I'm not going to speak about their academics, but their elite level football college program, all over sex, which is one of the downfalls of many of athletes. I will never understand giving up this type of access and opportunity for sex. It baffles me, Coach.
Man, it's freaking ridiculous. All right, some people like that type of thing. I mean, yeah, doing that without somebody's consent is kind of a shitty type of thing to do. So I'm glad that they suspended this guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm glad that he's suspended. Let me see what the video voyeurism
Guarantee
charges
he's
could
going to
be.
lose. Guarantee, though, he's going to lose that scholarship.
Oh, his scholarship's done. I don't,
Yeah.
especially in the age in which colleges are ensuring their damnedest that they're taking like Title IX and everything like that serious. he's done. There is no way that they can keep him on that roster on scholarship and face the public outcry that can happen because of the nature of what it was. Even though the act was consensual, the recording of it was not. So I'm gonna look to see what Louisiana, so the state of Louisiana, could yield. Let's see what type of penalty he could get. All right, so in Louisiana, the penalties for voyeurism vary based on the specifics of the offense and any prior conviction. For a first conviction of voyeurism, you can be fined up to $500 and or imprisonment for up to 6 months. For subsequent convictions, the penalties can increase up to $1,000 and or imprisonment for 1 year, with the inclusion of potentially hard labor. If it involves recording sexually explicit content, the penalties are more severe. In such cases, the offender can be fined up to $10,000 and imprisonment for a minimum of 1 year and up to 5, without the possibility of parole, probation, and or suspension. Additionally, individuals that are convicted of video voyeurism are required to register as sex offenders. So if he's convicted, his college career is done. Especially if he, because it says, according to network right here, the penalties you're required. So if that's the charge that he gets hit with and he's convicted and found guilty, he has to register it as a sex offender. Done.
Yeah.
Done.
That sucks for him, man.
So stupid. All right. Let's check the comment section to see what we have here. Gotta Happen to Me said, if he did it once, why have sex with him again? Thank you, Michelle. I appreciate you for bringing up that point, because I didn't even think about that. There is a severe loss of trust that can occur if you know that this has happened already. Now, one could argue and say that, well, I found out about it. We talked about it. I trusted that he was going to give me his word that he would not do that again. You could make that argument, and I could buy that. But at the same time, it's going to be one of those trust but verify situations. And that's likely what happened here. Hey, baby, I won't do it again. I promise. So what does he do? He gets a hidden camera and places it, and it happens again. And because she's doing the trust but verify, she finds out completely. Then, she's the one that pushes to have charges pressed against her, because she didn't have to do that. But in my opinion, when somebody does that, you're essentially handing them the knife and the rope and just waiting on them to cut their own rope with the knife and fall and perish. And that's exactly what he did.
Hey, can I make a terrible joke? Nah, fuck it. I can't do that. I can't.
Okay. All right.
I'm not going to, because this one would be a bad one. I mean,
you don't have to. You don't have to do it, Coach.
Yeah. I'm not going to. I'm just going to leave well enough alone. I'll leave it well enough alone.
All right. The next thing that I want to bring up here, running back Josh Jacobs. Josh Jacobs played for the University of Alabama. And when it comes to taking advantage of your opportunities, he's done exactly that. Now, if you don't follow professional football or college football to know who Josh Jacobs is, that's fine. But what I am going to highlight here is his mindset on what it takes to win. He was part of one of the winningest programs when he was at the University of Alabama, only to get drafted by the Raiders and lose consistently. And he talks about how the Raiders asked him to take a pay cut to keep playing for their organization. And just listen to what he had to say about that.
Is it hard for you in that 4 or 5 year period at the beginning of your career to say, like, am I ever going to get out? Was that stressful?
Nah, definitely. Like, and that went in part to me leaving. I'm like, man, coming from Alabama, like, I went to championship every year I was there. I remember coming to the league and losing my first game, and I was mad, not talking to nobody, and a vet come up to me and like, this the NFL, like, you gonna lose. I'm like, so y'all cool with losing? It was so different. Then the most frustrating thing about it all, you got me, you know, Tay and Max. You got guys that come in every day and work hard, and you don't get the results. Every year you close, but it's not winning. Y'all want me to come back on a discount and lose? I don't know how I feel about that.
So that right there, I wanted to play that video because I loved the mindset that he had. For him, it's not just about the money. To be able to play that sport at that level and make enough money to change your life is one thing. But for him, he's like, I also want to win. Like, I'm not coming here working my ass off, working on hard, and be okay with losing because I'm making millions of dollars. No. That's not how I want my legacy to end. And I love and respect people that have the mindset of being a winner. And when you have that kind of mindset, Coach, I'm going to tell you, I wished I had that mindset in my youth because that could have helped me overcome a lot of the physical things that afflicted me, because I wasn't that tall of a guy, but I was strong. I was mad strong. I wasn't the fastest, but I was quick. I had some intangibles that allowed me to be able to be a starter and have some collegiate scholarship opportunities in football. And instead of fully focusing on my athletics, I was chasing girls, right? I was what every young teenage filled with testosterone would do, or I'd say most anyway. And I did have people in my life that attempted to focus me because of the opportunities that I did have, and because I was able to do just enough to be seen, I was okay with that. But when I look back at it, man, there were opportunities and times that I could have been way better. I could have put that extra effort into the gym. My grades were great. I scored high enough on the ACT that schools and coaches didn't have to worry about how eligible I was because I was a nerd back then. But I was also a guy that I fit that nerd jock category, the quintessential student athlete. You know, again, I wasn't out there running 4.4s and 4.5s. Matter of fact, my fastest high school time in a 40 was a 4.8. But I also did that without training on how to run a 40. And if I could have gone into college, I would have had that experience, that training and things to possibly run faster. But when you were a 5'8" guy at 220 playing tailback, the 40 mattered. Now, game speed, if there's a highlight tape of me on YouTube, I might show that one day, where I'm breaking for a long touchdown. It looked like I was fast, which I'd say I was. I couldn't run a fast 40 because I wasn't really trained for it. But yeah, I love this mindset. To our troops out there, this is the mindset that you want as well. Take every opportunity to be your best and shine, because you never know when it's going to be taken away.
Hey, I get that, and I agree with you on that. We can look back at our lives and say, "Hey, we wish we could have done those things," and I have some of those things that I wish I would have done a little bit better on that, and from that. But I look back, I look at my current part of my life right now, and I say, you know what? If I had not done the things I would do right there, I would not be in the happy place that I am in right now.
Yeah.
So, in a way, I can kind of understand that about that. And one thing I admire, though, about what he said, another thing was about, coming back on a discount while continuing to lose. So, he knew his value. And
Yes.
there is something to be said. And I'm going to say this for those of you that are that are out right now, or those that are thinking about getting out right now. I want you to really think about that as far as what you are worth versus what you are giving up. When you talk to that reenlistment person or you talk to that hiring person, you should know what you're worth. Now, if you think that you're worth something that is, unrealistic, then you really need to have a come to Jesus meeting. Okay. Um, but if you are you don't want to underestimate yourself, and that's what he's talking about. I've seen it a lot where people who in the military will just reenlist based off of what minimal BS that they had for them. And I've seen people that will only reenlist for something to show them that they're absolutely worth it. And I was one of those.
Mm.
I would definitely say you need to ensure that you know what you're worth. You have to get something out of it. If you do not get something, if they do not recognize what you have gotten, either you're not working hard or that organization's not for you. Every reenlistment, except for one, I either got a bonus or I got something that I wanted. The only time that I didn't was just so that I could re-enlist for my window to open again a year later. That was the only reason why I didn't do anything like that. So I will tell you, you need to take a look and see what you got and make sure you know what you're worth. He knows what he's worth in LA and playing in Las Vegas for a discount. Yeah, I wouldn't want to do that either. So test your market, test your worth. Know that when you're going into a job interview, as well as staying at a job. Okay, if you're in a losing situation with something, know your worth. Don't stick around into a situation that you know is going to be losing just for fringe other things. Know your worth and know what you can get to make the best for yourself.
Wise words, coach, and I appreciate you adding that on faux shiggity. David Cunningham said, "True King, I'm sure that Charles Barkley, Karl Malone, Jim Kelly, and Dan Marino would trade that money for a championship." Chuck's even said it. Charles Barkley has talked about, and I forget what podcast that he was on, and he said, "Look, I've had the opportunity to, be the face of some things, get that brand deal, and everything like that, and I've made some money over my career." He said, "But that one thing that even Kenny Smith has is a championship." And Kenny, you can say, wasn't an integral part of his team on the Rockets team that he won the championship with. Whereas, Chuck was that dude for a while when he was playing, yet couldn't get over the hump. And that's the one thing that all of the other players can always pick with him about, is that he never won that championship. Now, David also followed that up and said, "Troops, you should seek an MOS that will set you up for life outside of the military, and sometimes you need to make a lateral move."
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Okay.
Agree with that. And I would also say that there's sometimes that your MOS doesn't really fit with this. Okay. I moved to Intel from finance. Both of those would have set me up pretty well for afterwards, either in the military or in the normal working section. But that switch to Intel really helped me out with what I'm currently doing, and I'm doing a lot more of that. And I guess my finance thing is helping me admin wise. But there's little things that you have that are MOS non-specific, that like leadership wise, organizational types of things, structuring, following up, keeping some type of open communication, at times being a rock with lips. Those types of things are marketable as
Wait,
well.
What's a rock with lips? I've never heard that.
Oh, somebody who's dumb as a rock but has lips and won't shut the fuck up.
Okay, got you.
Like
I
me.
just Yeah, to me, I call those mouth breathers. People
Yeah,
that are standing there that just sucking up oxygen.
yeah. No, mouth breathers are the ones. Mouth breathers are the ones who have like a view of I don't know, Trump still won the election in 2020.
Gotcha.
Those are I consider mouth breathers. But when we get to what the fuck was I talking about?
How your job, how your
Yeah,
job done
yeah.
directly.
David's got a point about reclassing into a job with something after it, but there's other intangible assets that are MOS non-specific that can help you out as you still want to discover it. So yes, there is those types of benefits and those types of training things that translate a little bit more into the civilian world, but that shouldn't be a sole reason just to reenlist. That's where
Yeah,
I'm with that.
and like I'll add this, and a lot of the people that are in now can probably understand this. I don't know how it is now versus when I was in, but I was an enlisted aviator. My job was an in-flight refueler, and it's exactly how it sounds. I refueled other airplanes in flight, and I'm specific about that because there's people that don't know that's a capability that we in the world have the capability to be able to give gas to other airplanes in the air. I just dropped my anyway. Um and that job doesn't directly translate into anything outside of the service, but what it can do is it allows you to travel. So I was able to experience and learn about different cultures directly to the places that I traveled to. It, team organization and communication, talking to my pilot team up front and the other pilot teams that I was, passing gas to, and other just those little intangible things that was required of you from the job to make aerial refueling happen. Because if you think about it, it's an inherently dangerous job, flying over 400 to 500 miles per hour in the air with another airplane directly behind you, right? So it does teach you some things that you can translate on the intangible side on the job market. Like if I were to get out and have something that was directly related to my job, I could have worked at some type of airport or something, could have directly translated it into being a flight attendant or something like that, but there wasn't a direct equivalency of it. But if I could go back, I'd pick the same job again because of how it allowed me to travel and see the world.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm kind of glad that I actually volunteered for all the shit that I did.
Mhm.
I would say that I'm glad that I volunteered to go to the places that I did and do the experiences that I did.
Yep. And then to some jobs, if you get in it, like when I was in, it was hard for me to get out and get into another job because my job was deemed critical essential or some type of verbiage that's close to that. And the only way that you could get out of a critical essential job was to get into another critical essential job. And each of the command I don't know how to call it, but like the HR people of that specific job code had to authorize you to be able to move from one critical essential job to another one.
Yeah.
And usually,
Call them branch managers in the
yeah,
army.
yeah, it's the equivalency of the branch manager in the Air Force. And typically, if you did it, it was a job that, I mean, it wasn't easy jobs. It was your harder jobs, the harder skilled jobs, the ones that you could train into and then get out and make more money. So that's why they were harder to fill, like unless they threw bonuses at those jobs, which if you were a critical job, chances are you did have a bonus that came along with it.
Yeah.
So, everything, had its pros and
My
cons.
my job when I reclassed, the MOS was definitely downsizing. They hadn't officially come out with it yet, but the writing was on the wall on a couple things, and then it ended up being true about a year and a half later, I can't remember when they started, eliminating my old finance MOS and consolidating them. But that's when I made my reclass, and the MI MOS that they were offering, it was at that time a 4.0 Bravo bonus. So I will say this: I maxed my bonus out at like $37,000, but it was like a critically short MOS at that point, and then I ended up reclassing into it for that amount. But it was that much money I had to go ahead and take, and that's where I would say know your damn thing. I wasn't going to freaking move to another job, even though it was critical, but seeing the writing on the wall and knowing that they were going to give me close to $30,000 or over $30,000, hell yeah, I did it.
No doubt.
Yep.
No doubt. Now, David, stick with us. We are getting to our last two things, and we're going to be wrapping things up. It's kind of funny because we didn't have a show last week. I typically try to get us to 10 o'clock, but right now it looks like we might be going at least another 20 minutes. So, David, we always like to close out the show with your words, man. Stick with us for about 15 to 20 more minutes, maybe even quicker than that. But he said that he was a helicopter mechanic, worked on the CH-53s, the Hueys, the Apaches, and the UH-60 Blackhawks. Hey, man, let me do this right here. Let me give you a salute. If I could play that, I was a real American, I'd play it, but we would definitely get zucked. All right, because they don't play about that one. Let's bring this up real quick. This will be something, I don't even know how to say his name properly, but congrats to Xander Schauffele. The 30-year-old golfer won 2 majors in the same year at the age of 30. His first one was back in May of this year, and he just won his second one a couple of months later. The last person to win 2 majors in the same year was Rory McIlroy in 2014, and he's also the 6th player to win both the PGA Championship and the Open in the same year, with Tiger Woods being the only person to do that twice in 2000 and 2006. This win had a purse of $17 million, and by him winning number 1, he brought down $3.1 million on a -9 score. He had 0 bogeys throughout the entire tournament, and that win right there placed him number 16 on the career tour money list with $51.6 million earned. That's not bad for a sport that causes you to be able to get some sun and walk around for a little bit.
That is, damn.
and to be 30 and have earned that much over his golf career, shout out to him.
But it also shows to you something.
What's that?
This is the first guy. So the first guy to do this ever since Tiger Woods, right?
Mm-hmm.
I have no idea who the fuck this guy was until you mentioned his name.
Actually, he's not the first to do it since Tiger Woods. Rory was the last to do it. Tiger's done it twice.
All right. Well, Rory, I know, but I don't know what the hell Rory looks like, and I still have no idea who the fuck this guy is.
You know what?
You know what? I knew who Tiger Woods was when he did that the first time.
Tiger Woods would be the only golf player that if I saw him at an airport, I would recognize who he was. I know several. I could name 10 of them.
Maybe.
Right? I would. Phil Mickelson looks like the average old retired E8 that you can see at the VFW.
Fuck you.
I'm just saying he wouldn't be.
He does look like an average white guy. Yeah, he does.
I mean, he's tall. But like outside of that, he looked like a guy that I would see at the VFW. Just the average white 50-year-old dude.
Yeah,
a guy that maybe owns a boat or two.
That is a good point. So yeah, I mean, Yeah, I have no idea who this fucking guy is, and I don't. Where did they mention what golf course it was at?
They did, but I don't have it up now.
All right. To be honest with you, unless it's played over there in Scotland, I really don't give a shit. It's got to be played at St. Andrews. So if it's played anywhere else other than St. Andrews, to me, it's not the real British Open. St. Andrews is the birthplace of golf. And that's the sacred, hallowed ground of golf. To me, a British Open, I only pay attention when it's played there. And if it was played at St. Andrews and I missed it, well, then that should show you how much golf has truly screwed itself ever since the freaking separation between them and the Live Tour and all the bullshit that's happening, because nobody knows what the hell's happening with golf.
It was played in Scotland at the Royal Troon Golf Club.
Yeah, bump that. I don't care if it was. That's like okay. That's like going to the Indianapolis dirt race to with a NASCAR. Okay, you would rather go to the Indianapolis Speedway, not playing at the dirt race. I just say this, man. Seriously, the British Open should just be at one place, and that should just be at St. Andrews. It would be boring, but it would be tradition. And St. Andrews is beautiful too, might I add.
No doubt.
So
now,
yeah.
All right, now, Coach, help me out. I know where the crew chief is because I was around a lot of maintainers, being that I was enlisted aviation, and I'm going to assume CSM is Command Sergeant Major. What's a SGM? Is that just Sergeant Major?
Yeah, that's just Sergeant Major. Yeah. So
Okay.
Those would just be in a staff position that are, rated for an E9. They're that's what Sergeant Major stands for. SGM is Sergeant Major.
And what grade is that? Is that an E8 or an E9?
E9.
E9? Okay. And then so it's
CSM
just like our
and
chief and then our command chief. Gotcha.
Yeah, it's like so E4 in the Army has the specialist in the corporal rank. E8 in the Army has the master sergeant and the first sergeant's rank. And E9 has the sergeant major, command sergeant major, and sergeant major of the Army rank.
All right, got you. Hey, David Cunningham, thank you for your service, my man. Now, Jake Paul is a menace. He is a guy that's he's taken boxing seriously and is doing the sport at a level that should not be overlooked. Okay, this past Saturday in Tampa, he scored a KO victory against a UFC. This guy has a UFC background, Mike Perry. All right, who at 5'10", 185, and 32 years old has won a middleweight championship as well as a welterweight championship in UFC. But boxing's a different sport. Okay. I have a highlight here of Jake Paul winning the match by TKO against Mike Perry. Let's take a look.
That one caught him good. Paul,
that's the one.
Right hand. This may be it. Right hand. And he's down for a third time.
The jab set up the left hook.
Oh. And now wave it off. There is a new king of violence, and his name is Jake Paul.
All right. So if you take a look, at that point, Jake Paul was relentless in going after him. I didn't watch this live, but I was interested in the fight because I've gotten to the point to where I just want to see Jake Paul lose. I want to see him lose. And I was like, if anything, this guy who does have a fighting background would have a shot. But
all right, I want you to go back to the beginning, and I want you to see how much he opened up on his left hook. You pause it right there. Nope, a little bit more. That's his left hook.
Gotcha.
Boom, boom. this right. You see how far he opened up right there. Look how fucking open he is.
Mm-hmm.
I know where this is going to go. And I'm sure is glad that Iron Mike Tyson was not his opponent that night. Because that fucking beard and chin would have been knocked into fucking Tuesday. Look
Yeah.
how open he is. Holy fucking shit. Tyson, look, any boxer worth his salt would have been able to have taken off on him right then and there. This guy's not a professional boxer. Again, or his opponent's not a professional boxer. This is a boxing match, and Jake Paul did good. But man, he still is not a pro boxer. Look at that fucking punch box, man. Tyson would have killed it. All right, sorry, buddy. I had to go out with that.
No, it's one of those things that I have to wonder about how some of this stuff is being promoted. Because when I was like, all right, let me really take a look at who Mike Perry is. If you take a look at his boxing matches outside of UFC, in 2015, he had his professional boxing debut in which he lost in the fourth round by a fourth round KO. In November of 2021, he faced off against Michael Seals in a match that had MMA fighters, and he won the bout by a split decision. Okay, nothing too fancy. But this isn't Jake Paul's first time working with Mike Perry. He was a backup fighter for the Paul versus Tommy Fury fight last year, as well as the other Paul brother, Logan, versus Dylan Dennis last year as well. So to have this guy get in there with him, they know who he is. To me, you can't tell me that these guys don't smoke cocaine and party with each other behind closed doors and then go, hey, man, let's go out here and make a killing. You not gonna win. Okay, I need you to, fourth, fifth round, look bad and just fall so that I look good and we can go get this easy money. Because that's what it is now. Right now, they making easy money.
Oh, yeah, they're making absolutely easy money. And that's the reason why Tyson signed on to fight him right there. But, man, nobody's going to notice the difference between an actual boxing match. And that's what, again, boxing has come down to. We are now in a part where pugilism has now been obviously dwarfed by freaking social media and popularity. And that's the paydays. Much like NILs. But anyway, I digress. It's going to be nice to see Mike Tyson take his fucking head off.
I don't think the fight's ever going to happen. It's not going to happen.
Mike, brother.
Mike won't get medically cleared to do it.
I'm going to talk it into existence. If freaking CQ can keep talking about Mephisto and that finally gets talked into existence, then I am going to talk this Mike Tyson Jake Paul match into existence because I want to see Tyson one more time, one last time. It's like Rocky Balboa. You know what? I've been teased with the fight. I want to see the fight. I want to see Tyson and Paul. I've been teased with it. Okay, that's exactly what it's like right there. I want it. I want to see it now. I want to see it just so I can freaking see Tyson one more time. And look, if he knocks him the fuck out, even better. Okay, let's be honest. It would be.
All right. Now, in our last article for today, Mr. David Cunningham, I'm going to give my quick thoughts on EA College 25. So, unless you've been living under a rock, if you are a gamer and a sports person, especially if you love the sport of football, you were excited to know that EA was bringing back the college football brand with the title called EA Sports College 25. Now, EA, the last college football game that was produced was NCAA Football 14. Several enthusiasts of the college football brand had still been playing that game up until this point, with some even saying that they're now loyalists and they're going to stick to that versus what the updated product is going to bring. There were people that were like, well, it's just going to be another EA product. And the last couple of Maddens that have came out didn't do much to like kick the ball down the field. But I bought EA College 25. I was excited to play as the University of Alabama, get out there and continue the domination. And what I do love about the updates is this: with the name, image, and likeness deals that have been going on, we now have the ability to play as a player. And it was really cool to see people from my hometown, some of my friends' kids that are in the game, and to know that they came from my hometown and that they're my friends' kids is dope. Now, the gameplay is a lot better than what last year's Madden was. They have all of the college teams in there. It was reported that as of 2 days ago, though the college game brought in $200 million in revenue in the first 2 days. Insane. All right. and that's just from the early pre-order sales. It was reported by IGN that there were 2.2 million units sold across the PS5 and the Xbox Series X/S, which is the current next-gen consoles. And when you take a look at the deluxe edition's price tag was $99.99, so that you could get that 3-day early access. I can only imagine that this is going to be a cash cow for EA and everybody that's involved in it.
Now, I'm going to bring up one other thing before I talk about EA, because right now it's actually pretty good for another video game manufacturer. On top of EA releasing NCAA 25, Nintendo just released the NES Championship game. And it's a speed run game for all the old NES games. It's fucking awesome. And I have seen that as well. That's also been downloaded and bought at like a $60 rate as well. It's like a whole slew of people are getting it. But back to this on EA. I have seen in the past where these anticipated games got rushed to development and are brought out with freaking 80% done. You have to download an update and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then there's still glitches in the system. Everybody playing this game, and I have seen only one glitch ever show up over the past however long it's been. I have seen very few glitches from it. So EA rolled out the game perfectly, and I have seen a renewed sense. It's funny. Not only are the new group of people that are coming in and playing this game, but as you say, there are some of those loyalists, but I see them as a minority because I am seeing people that are our age getting into the excitement of this game and playing this game again. So it's reinvigorating the older game generation, which with this game, it was this actual audience, and anything else is a bonus. And I hope that they see how well this game is compared to other game releases that have come out where it's been buggy and laggy and had issues with its gameplay and everything like that.
Yep. Now, I'm going to get into some of the cons that I experienced personally. So I did not do the pre-order that came with the 3-day early access, but I did I was able to do the trial because I have the EA premium thing. So it gave me 10 hours of gameplay to be able to play it. And I was impressed. I was impressed by the gameplay. There were some audio issues in which the audio didn't necessarily match what the play was for the moment that it was in, but that's stuff that can be easily patched. As well as when the full release got released on Friday, there were some issues with the online servers. I am in 2 dynasties currently. One is with Pop Culture Warrior, in which he's playing as the Army Knights, and I'm playing as the F Force Academy. And I'm in another one with some guys who are all military veterans as well. And we're playing as our favorite college teams. And the online dynasty servers were down from Friday night to Sunday morning. They
That
just got
now,
fixed today.
yeah, but now that I can understand, that's not a gameplay issue. That's
Correct.
an EA issue because that's the bandwidth on the server type
Bandwidth with the
thing.
servers and all of the
Everybody.
players.
I mean, it happens, and I hate to say this. I really do wish tech companies would truly do something about this. They know that the anticipated bandwidth once something goes up is astronomically high. It will never be as high unless something else happens that is newsworthy than it is when it first starts. So I wish that they would set the bandwidth to its absolute maximum capacity that they believe they could have had. They should have had enough room for at least 5 million people on that fucking server, because there would have been no doubt for me that over 5 million people day of bought this this thing worldwide.
Yep. And for me, it had kind of the opposite effect because I've been a loyal Madden purchaser almost every year since 2004, I want to say.
All
This
right.
is going to be the first Madden that I skip. There's enough.
Oh,
There's enough in
okay.
this there's enough that's offered in this that's going to keep me engaged. Currently, CQ and I are playing the World to Glory, which is it's a solo thing, but we picked the same position with the same college just to see, who could have
All right.
the better stats at the end. But there's enough in the dynasty itself that's
Mhm.
going to keep me okay, and I don't have a need to go back up to the pro level anymore.
Do you remember when it used to take? I mean, all right, sports titles were obviously different because the updates would be for the people that were on the teams.
Mhm.
But, essentially the online updates can take care of that for a lot of people. But
Correct.
there used to be a pause period in time with games before they just gave out annual releases. Like, Call of Duty right now. And Madden falls into this as well as far as an annual release. Call of Duty has become an annual release, and they're on whatever fucking version they're on right now, and nobody really quite cares because nobody's playing with it. Same thing is happening right now with Madden. I'm noticing that Madden has, well, the bubble's getting a little bit too big, if you see where I'm getting at.
Mhm.
And I think it's a healthy thing for somebody to have an alternative type of thing, especially with the NCAA football now, because this is going to inadvertently affect Madden this year. But I guarantee you that Madden next year is going to take a bigger leap, if you see where I'm getting at.
Okay.
They have a chance to mail in Madden 2025 or whatever fucking year it is. They have a chance to mail it in and really focus on 26, knowing that the NCAA might be able to actually give somebody a break from playing Madden.
Now, as it was said on the Sports Bar a couple of episodes back, the college programs themselves are going to earn money for appearing in the form of royalties. The royalties are broken down into tiers. Obviously, your tier 1 schools like your Alabamas, your Clemsons, your Notre Dames are going to earn the most at the current level. That's just under 100,000. And then your tier 4 schools, like your Jacksonville States, your programs that people really hadn't heard of, are gonna earn just under 10,000 annually in royalties for
You know
appearing
what?
in this game.
Oh my God. You know what we should do? We should do like the ultimate money laundering scheme. And I wish EA would do something, base it off of the popularity of the school instead of like freaking, their tier base. So let's just say we get like one of those schools like Jacksonville State or something like that we can
Mhm.
play, or one of these schools that's out there. And let's just say we got a movement going to everybody play as like this one middle of nowhere college that gets like no support, like Southeast Oklahoma State or something like that, and get like somehow artificially inflate its popularity so that it becomes like a tier one school on EA to play football. That's what we should do, man. We should like fuck Alabama. Alabama doesn't need $100,000 for that. Southeast Oklahoma State or Jacksonville State or freaking I don't know what the hell they have over there in Maryland. Whatever fucking D1 college is out there. For crying out loud, give it to the service academies. Let's get everybody to play as Army for a week and get them up to a tier one and get them up to $100,000. It's not like they don't fucking need it. Get everybody to play as Air Force so that they can afford uniforms that aren't pink. Something like that. We should. That's how the popularity of these tier one schools going. I don't want to play for Michigan. I want to play for frickin' Portland State.
Hey, now, Coach, don't forget that the players are also compensated too.
Good. Those players on Portland State need more money than Shador Sanders does.
Yep, with his Rolex freaking that he wears in games. Each player that's featured in the game earns $600 and a free copy of the game. Yay.
Oh wow. Jesus Christ! So is that part of the players in processing when they come in on campus? They get inside their bags. Welcome to whatever college it is. Here's this. This is where the campus map. Oh, and here's your copy of the game that you're in.
Yep. All right, now, Coach, that's our show for today.
Hey, wait a minute. Oh my God. Holy shit. That is a fucking unbelievable marketing campaign.
Oh.
Okay.
Let's hear it.
Man. At what time in your life did you have the most time to play video games?
High school.
In school, right?
Yeah.
In college, there's going to be a lot of time to play video games too, isn't there?
I'd say so. Unless you're a student athlete.
Oh, no, even if you are a student athlete.
Okay.
I mean, you go back to the football house, you play a couple video games with your guys. If you don't have a practice or anything, you go out as kind of playing it. Wouldn't it be cool to play your own fucking game on campus with you in it?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Wouldn't it be cool to be back on campus and play with the current team's roster and then talk shit about how they threw a pick six in their Madden against their rival?
Yeah.
And distributing free games on campus. Oh, it's not like these guys aren't just going to give them away or other things. Yeah, I got a copy of it here. You need a copy? There you go. Man, you've got an entire group of young gamers that are going to have a free copy of their game on the college campus. Wonder if that'll increase popularity.
I started thinking as you were saying this, hey, you know what? If it wasn't against NCAA rules, I would host tournaments. Come beat me. As me in my game.
You know what?
But you gotta pay to enter.
But you know what? You know what can be done? Okay. No, this is dead serious. You know what can be done? one of these NIL people, let's just say it's a car company or something like that.
Okay.
Okay. All right, let's just use a car company, puts out one of these tournament things inside their lot saying, come against so and so, play against him in NCAA, etc., or play against these guys, against them, teammates in those games. Once you play against them in that, you pay the players like $500 that you say, hey, whoever beats them gets $1,000. You've now got a little giveaway tournament right there that's funded by an NIL that they can play in that. It wouldn't be official, but an outside business with this NIL thing could do something like that.
Yeah. Yep.
Man, I'm telling you, this NIL deal is now turned into a marketing thing.
Yep. Yes, it has.
Oh, all right. I think David's tired.
All right. Shout out to David Cunningham with our parting words. And I wish all of it could fit on the screen, but I'll read it out. He said, King and Coach, you knocked it out the park as usual. Sports fans, the Paris, France 2024 Olympics starts on July 24th. Please pray that our players will stay safe while in France and win the most medals. If you want to tune in live to watch the games in Paris, Paris is 6 hours ahead of Washington, D.C. Have a great week all. Which Peacock, right? Peacock's going to be one of the places.
Yeah, Peacock, NBC, yeah, all the NBC Universal channels. So it'll be on MSNBC, USA, CNBC, NBC, and all their digital channels, plus streaming all live on the Peacock app. That's where you're going to see all the obscure sports.
Like what? Beach volleyball?
Like
badminton?
No, not beach. No, beach volleyball is prime rating. You're kidding me? That's going to be on there. Yeah, like you're going to see like the table tennis first round. You know, the table tennis doubles women's competition will be on Peacock, and Olympic, snatch and sniff weightlifting will also be on there. The clean and jerks and all that other shit. That'll be there. But yeah, no, NBC is going to show the ones that are going to get the freaking, the ratings. You're going to get the gymnastics. You're going to get the basketball games. You're going to get the swimming. You'll get maybe the diving, the track and field. Those will always be on NBC. The little other obscure ones like the fucking. What's that one? The steeplechase and all that, the horse racing or the horses and the fencing and the ball games and the golf and that other shit. Those will be on those other channels, but like the really fucking obscure ones are really going to be on Peacock too. That's the only place you're going to see like those, like I said, like women's doubles table tennis.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, Coach, it's been an honor as always. I enjoy doing the Sports Bar here live at WTF Nation Radio. For those of y'all that have tuned in live, thank you. For those of y'all that are going to catch the replay, thank you as well. To David Cunningham for our sign off. As always, I appreciate that. It is honestly what I look forward to each and every show. Be sure to come back tomorrow on the Monday edition as our boss man, Ice, will be on, kicking things off with the Monday edition. Coach, got anything else for us?
China will win the ping pong. Yeah, they will.
Yeah,
but you know what the sad thing is? Ping and pong are also the name of the players.
And on that note, we're out before we get canceled. Peace.